am feeling fresh today. Ooh.
You finally took a shower.
I took a shower, but I didn't just take a shower. I took a shower after I clipped both my finger and toenails.
Oh, my God.
And I put on all new clean clothes.
Yeah.
Woo!
Fresh undies.
Fresh
new
underwear.
Socks.
Okay, well, here, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever... Wait, hold on. First... Welcome back to the RageSelect podcast. It's that kind of thing. I'm Jeff. I'm about to reveal disgusting Jeff's secret on the air. So
Jeff lore unlocked.
So I only shower like once or twice a week because I don't work in a field and like.
Yeah, you're not like out in the sun all day.
Yeah,
you're like at home. Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass. It's just whatever.
Sure.
But sometimes I found recently, if you're starting to feel a little funky, the best thing to do is change into new clothes. So I put clean clothes on top of my like 3 days with no shower dirtiness.
On the dirty body.
And it feels a little better. It's like you can squeeze an extra like 24 hours out of it before you're just like,
that's amazing.
This is terrible. I wonder if anybody else does it. Do you shower? Are you a daily showerer?
Yes.
Or is that too much?
Shower? No, so there's like, to me, there's showering and then there's like an everything shower. And an everything shower, especially for a woman or anyone who's like wildly high maintenance, is
or has
like
hair.
Yeah. Is like washing my hair because I don't wash my hair every day.
Yeah.
Shaving, like exfoliating, like you bust out the more than
you gotta
one.
Open up the other thing.
All the bottles that are
the loofah and the
exactly.
washcloth. Yeah.
So that I don't do all the time.
Okay.
That's like every third, fourth day. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise it's just like stand in the water. Hope soap gets near me, and then just stare in existential dread, or pretend I'm in an Usher music video and just pretend like I'm in the rain.
Put your
and
head down. Yeah.
That's normal, right? That's like what people do.
I think that's what people do. Just get in there and think about soap. Let the water go over you and think about soap for a little while.
Hum some bars of like some sort of soap jingle.
Well. I've got no segue for that.
Yeah.
We've got a big Nintendo Direct. We got two. There was an Indie World Showcase and a Nintendo Partner Direct. Not an actual Nintendo Direct, but like double your pleasure of like indie stuff. So that's probably going to be mostly what we're going over today because, to be honest,
oops, all Nintendo.
The rest of the week was kind of just like press releases. So, but before we do that. Amanda.
Yes.
I watched 3 movies last week.
Are you still on the last time I was on? You were on like an old movie playhouse thing kick. What is
this? It's one of those things where a bunch of stuff came on VOD, and also I just straight up pirated Deadpool and Wolverine because I've been ill.
Yeah.
I can't go to a movie theater. Like I went from like I can't focus on anything to I can't stop coughing to I have to go to the bathroom every 15 to 20 minutes because the antibiotics destroyed my intestines.
Yeah.
So like none of these are appropriate to go to the movie theater, but the fucking internet would not quit putting fucking screen grab meme shots, news stories, YouTube thumbnails.
Insane that Marvel was like, do not spoil this movie. And then the day after release, they're like, this is the entire cast of the movie.
Right.
And all of them were spoilers. It was like, hey,
So I finally got mad. I one thing was spoiled for me, and I was like, okay, fine. I can wait.
Is this going to be a spoiler for your review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I ended up watching Deadpool Wolverine, but then also last week, Longlegs showed up on VOD. So I watched Longlegs, and then I also watched Inside Out 2. Which of these would you like to hear more about?
Well, I'm a horror girl.
I know.
And I have not watched Longlegs, but people keep telling me about it, and I am indifferent about it. But I'm interested to know what you think about it because people don't. The way they talk about it, it's just very like, did you know that the director is the son of the guy from Psycho? And it's like, how is the movie?
Right.
I don't care.
Or, pardon me, or it's like, the scariest movie you've ever seen. I ripped my face off and pissed myself in the theater. And you're like, no, you didn't. Shut up. Fuck off.
Yeah,
like,
you said that last week, and it wasn't.
You said that with like The Conjuring 4, and I don't believe you.
Dude, seriously.
So here's what I'll say. Okay, one, I love horror movies because it's one of the few places where you can still get a movie that's not solidly 2 hours long, and I think that helps because it means that you've got to move it the fuck along.
Yeah.
So Long Legs, for anybody who doesn't know, is like, it's hard to kind of I don't want to tap dance around a lot of spoilers, except for Inside Out 2. Delightful, charming, wonderful. I think that those are great movies about having feelings and how complicated it is, and I think everybody should watch the first one and the second one, and they were both absolutely charming and delightful.
Not seen either of them.
So with Long Legs, it's about this woman who's like an FBI agent. It's got a lot of kind of Silence of the Lambs DNA, and she's looking for a serial killer named Long Legs, and that's basically about as much as I'll say. To say anything more about the like what happens later on would be to kind of get into spoilers. It's a very like it's a kind of a coy movie.
Yeah.
But what's nice about it is that here's what I'll say. It reminds me a lot of there's a series of movies I would put, even though I have problems with it, I would put It Follows in there, or something like maybe The Babadook, or like The Empty Man, of like movies that were very good, that were like 7.58 out of 10 as a horror movie goes, but then people overreact and call them a 10 out of 10, and all you ever hear for months and months and months is how good it is. And if you go in expecting the greatest horror movie you've ever seen, you're gonna go like, well, that was okay, like, but I think you guys are overreacting a little bit. And that's what I got out of Long Legs. Very well shot, really creepy. Like the director knows what to do with a camera, is able to set up very nice shots where it'll make you nervous. Like is
he really good at tension?
Yeah. Like this isn't a spoiler. I'm going to describe an individual shot, but it's like nothing to do with the plot of the movie.
Sure.
There's a plot of the movie where the main character and her her boss, they go to a bar, and the shot starts with them opening the door and walking into the bar, and then the camera, and they kind of walk past the camera, and the camera just like sits on the open door to the bar and kind of slowly zooms towards the street.
Yeah.
And nothing actually comes there, but it gives you this sense of like voyeurism, or that there's something lurking. It's like, it's not anything specific. And I will say the movie does have a few jump scares, but I feel like they were earned jump scares.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like cheap. It was like,
there's something about shots that let your mind fill in the blanks, or like push into. It's like when you're a kid and you stare into a dark room for too long, and you're just like, I don't see a monster, but I know a monster's there, kind of thing. It's such a good, and not enough directors do that. Now, see, that description alone will get me to watch that movie more than, because Nicolas Cage is in it. Yeah. And everyone's like, you gotta watch it, Nicolas. I don't care. Sure. I don't get sold on people very easily, like on actors anymore. I'm just jaded and grumpy, but the like amount of people like, it's a horror movie and it has Nicolas Cage, you have to watch it. I'm like, I don't really feel like I have to do anything you tell me to. Yeah. So, but like a good shot, a good vibe, that'll sell me on a horror movie.
Yeah, no, it definitely does that. Like, it's an extremely well crafted movie, like solidly crafted, not just like workmanlike, but like intentionality to the cinematography, to the score, to the way that stuff is going. The other thing about it is that it is real fucking ambiguous. Like when you get to the end,
I love that sort of
about like
shit.
It hints at a lot of stuff, Like it's one of those movies where it falls down more on the side that there's something supernatural going, but you could make a case of like there really isn't, and that there's a different explanation, because in a lot of ways it's more of this like kind of character story than it is about like specifically like, then we found the documents about how Fredward Krueger was dumped into a quarry for like, and like that kind of backstory. You remember like in in Sinister, when Ethan Hawke calls the guy up and he just kind of gives him the entire exposition of was it Vincent D'Onofrio or something like that?
Yes.
Like Skypes with him, and he kind of just tells him about like, oh, this is how this works, and this is this guy, and he's been around. None of that. It's all just kind of like
no exposition, man.
Yeah, you got to kind of figure it out for yourself, and I liked that. I really did. Like it was a good movie. It was nice. It was like. It was the kind of grown-up horror movie that I like, where it's just like, okay.
So there weren't any kids, so you didn't have to be annoyed by them?
Actually, there were a lot of kids. There were probably kids in that movie. Yeah, actually, it was interesting. Like, going back to it. But no, I thought it was worth watching. Like, again, I don't want to overhype it because I think that it was good. I don't think it was the best thing I've ever seen. But I think that the more... The blinder you can go in, the better, and the more
I've seen one
tempered expectations you have, the better.
Yeah, I've seen one shot memified essentially, and it's like a thing. But I don't know if it's just edited weird where I'm just not seeing faces, but it's just like Nick Cage's chest and him saying something, essentially.
The movie is very coy for a long time of showing him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of like moving cameras in places where it's not clear, kind of what he looks like.
So I get like, and that's been used a lot online, but I haven't seen any. So like the plot isn't really told to me, and I worry about, if I consider watching something, I don't ever want to like read the plot and then they just give you the, you know what I mean? Sometimes you'll be like, I just want to know what it's about because people said they really like it. And it'll be like, the plot is, this is the killer. This is how they did it.
Sure.
And it's like, well, that's not the plot. That's the movie.
It's one of those things where I feel like it's a hard because it's so ambiguous. I don't think you could get really spoiled on it. Like they could show you what Nicolas Cage looks like. If that wouldn't spoil the movie for you, they could show you.
Sometimes when I look at Nicolas Cage, it does spoil the movie.
It just spoils the reality. It spoils Thursday for me. I'm like, fuck it.
Oh, man.
It's it'd be like one of those things where like somebody would have to start telling you the plot of the movie, and in order to be spoiled, you'd have to listen to them for like 15 minutes as they were explicitly explaining every single thing. Yeah. And then at the end, you would probably still be able to watch the movie because it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
So
you'd literally have to describe scene for scene the entire movie, and it's like, well, at that point, I watched the movie, so it's fine.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I'll just wrap this up because we got to get moving. Deadpool and Wolverine was good. I liked it a lot more than anything I've seen recently.
Did you like it better than 1 and 2? Did you like 2?
No, I didn't like 2 as much as 1. I would say that my ranking is still 1 is the best. 3 comes after, 2 at the bottom.
Okay.
I really didn't care for 2.
I think a lot of people agree with just from what I've seen.
It's such an easy plot. It's such a simple, basic meat and potatoes plot that then you can sprinkle all of your spicy Ryan Reynolds dick jokes on top, and it works out really well. But the problem with Deadpool Wolverine is that like there are some issues that I had with it. For the most part, I had a really good time. Part of it might be the fact that there was a bunch of stuff that got spoiled, so that I would have had a better time if I could have just gone in and gone like, oh shit, I didn't know that was going to be a thing, but I did.
Did you hear that Ryan Reynolds wanted to do a fake movie? And the whole thing was going to be like I forgot, it was supposed to be Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. They talked about it on Hot Ones that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were going to play cops that shared a brain.
Oh,
and
I did hear that. Yeah.
And it was going to be, I forgot, there was like a tagline for it where it's like half man, half cop, all brain or some stupid. And then like partially like 5 minutes into the movie, it turns into Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Except they were like, well, that would have been spoiled instantly.
It's the other problem. I'm glad that we talked about long legs, because the other problem with Deadpool Wolverine is like, I don't want to spoil people the way that I was spoiled.
Yeah.
And most of the critiques that I have of that movie require like it just saying what they are without even saying like specifically what they are, but just saying like generally what they are is still going to like that movie again is
too much full frontal.
Best watched as blind as you can.
I promise you.
Yeah.
That's not possible.
Yeah. Well,
you would have had to have gone like midnight showing.
Yes.
Because
Which is a real shame because this is a movie that was really set up for a lot of big surprises, and the internet has just been like and not just like users, but movie sites, news sites, YouTube video thumbnails, like Twitter. I wasn't trying to even get spoiled on it, and I was just like browsing like popular on Reddit, or I was on Facebook and I was going through. And Facebook doesn't know what the fuck to show me, so it just shows me like comic book stuff, because every so often I'll pause and look at what it is, and I'm sure that
they're
it's
like got him,
yeah. So they just kept showing me that stuff, and I was scrolling, and I was like, oh, well, there you go, fucking ruined like 3 things in that movie for me. So good job, everybody.
Yep.
Anyway, before we jump into it, Amanda, did you do anything, watch anything, play anything good?
Did I talk about The Last Starfighter?
No.
John and I watched The Last Starfighter in theaters.
In theater?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I would have loved to have seen that. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it was $5.
Wow.
Cinemark had an anniversary. They're celebrating their anniversary. Cinemark started in 1984, and so they did it was like a month of movies. It was like every weekend. I think it was like Thursday through Sunday. They would have a different movie, and it was a movie from 1984 for $5. Tickets for $5.
Nice.
So John and I were like, well, fuck it. Like it was just like a Saturday, and we were at lunch right next to the Cinemark. And so I looked up times. I was like, maybe there's something good to watch. And but The Last Starfighter is $5.
Yeah.
So, and I'd never seen it. John,
You've never seen it?
Yeah, John loved it, and he was like, "We should I can't believe I've never forced this upon you." And I'm like,
"Yep,
force it upon me on the big screen."
Greetings, Starfighter.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah.
The graphics are terrible, but I understand that they were also like the first movie to really use.
As somebody who watched that movie when it came out, they were amazing then. But obviously,
I
really wish
that.
I've said before that it's one of those things where I really wish they would keep everything the same, but just redo the CGI, because it's such a good story, and like
it's really good.
And even the crappy CGI, it's still really exciting. Like watching all the fighter scenes that happen.
The plot's great and real fast.
Yep.
Like they just kind of throw you in there, and the main female love interest is from Night of the Comet. So I spent the whole movie like, I know this girl.
Yep.
I swear I know this girl. And then I looked. Night of the Comet came out in 1984. That girl had a banging 1984.
What was her name?
I don't know. You have to look up The Last Starfighter.
You guys should watch it if you've never seen it, because it's a movie about how playing video games really good will save the universe. Was that Catherine Mary Stewart? Yep, Maggie Gordon.
Right.
Yeah. That movie had one of young Jeff's. It scared me so hard that I couldn't watch the one scene when his replicant is writhing in bed, and when the sheets come off and they show his face and it's all gooey and stuff.
Ready?
Didn't see that coming, and it like scared the shit out of me as a kid. But then the rest of it was great. You got Greg, you got Centauri, I love the scene where he takes his head off.
Yeah.
And the little brother.
He's like, you're having a terrible dream.
You're having a terrible nightmare. Go back to sleep.
It's shockingly good. I think it would have been a fantastic television series. I think you could do it now as a television series, but people are so up their ass about being serious about things now that I don't think you could make it fun. I think they should make it fun.
Yeah.
I don't think they would make it fun.
Yeah.
Because then it'd just be like, actually, it's intergalactic war, and let's just treat it like a Battlestar Galactica sort of. And it's not that.
It's such a Pat Chosen One story, right? Of just like the boy from the small town. He's literally comes from a trailer park.
It's so funny.
And then it turns out he's the best at video games, so he gets to go off on an adventure in the cosmos.
Well, he sort of lucked out into it, right? Like he wasn't supposed to get that. Arcade, like they said, like that was supposed to go to like Las Vegas, someplace with high traffic. So he just happened to perfect playing this game.
Yep.
And then they were like, you have to come with us. And the only reason he's the like quote chosen one is because he pussied out and went, I want to go home.
Right.
And then he went home and then they killed everyone else.
Yep.
So, and then they spend like a good segment of the movie kind of guilt tripping his ass.
Yep.
And then when he like, all right, I guess I'll go back. And he goes back and then everything's horrible. And then he's on the last Starfighter, on the last ship.
Yep.
And then even then he's like, well, I don't know, we should maybe just go home. And the entire time the pilot, that's his friend,
Greg,
he spends a lot of it being like, I guess we will take you home. I mean, you'll probably live a good life before they come and take Earth. It'll be fine. This was my family before they became slaves.
Right.
But it's fine. We'll take you back to and then it's like, fine, I'll save the universe.
I love how the bad guys are just like, it's like Lizard Man, weird looking dude with the spike thing. That's enough, you guys. He's got that one scene where he puts the guy in the fucking ring thing that fucking melts his brain for some reason. Where his head melts or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, real Ark of the Covenant kind of melting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will Wheaton was in that movie? No.
Will Wheaton was in that movie?
It says Lewis's friend. I guess he was a friend of his brother. I guess it might have been like in a wide shot or something. I don't remember him really being in there.
I don't remember.
Crazy. Anyway, woo, wow. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We got to get going. But y'all should all go watch The Last Starfighter because it fucking rules.
Yeah,
so
super fun.
All right. Speaking of things that fucking rule, Nintendo time.
Huzzah!
Yeah. So partner showcase in an indie world, and we started strong with Balatro, like one of the big, big, huge game from this year. And we actually had, like, during the opening night live, they announced a bunch of crossovers in Balatro with, it was like a YouTuber, Dave the Diver, and something else, some other property that was going to be in Balatro. Well, we got even more. This thing called Friends of Jimbo. They're putting The Witcher 3 cards in, Vampire Survivors, and then Among Us. And I think they also showed the Dave the Diver stuff. And it's interesting because I think it's still the same game. It's just that there's like themed cards from these individual properties, which are pretty fun. You haven't played Balatro, have you?
Mm-mm.
It's a really interesting game because it's like all about building these building these hands of cards, like you're playing poker essentially.
Yeah.
But you start factoring in like multipliers and jokers and stuff, so you have a point total you're trying to get to, and you have like 5 hands. You can do a couple of discards, you can get a hand of cards. But as you keep going through, you build these like way overpowered decks to the point where you're getting like these huge score multipliers. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's really fun.
Yeah, looks fun.
And it's like a very basic concept. Like anybody who knows how to play poker could totally play it. So
joke's on you. Yep. I don't know how to play poker.
Well, it all takes like 20 minutes to learn how to play poker. Let's see. After that, we got the release date and another trailer for Neva, which is the next game for the people that made Gris.
It's Neva. This whole time I thought it was Neva.
Gris was the one where you were like kind of like a lady and you were going around and it was very like
I played Gris. It's really beautiful. This looks really beautiful.
This one is like more action oriented, and it's about this lady and like this deer dog thing, like rescuing it as a young dog and then having it grow up and it gets bigger and bigger, but also it's like a very like action oriented, I think, more than Gris was more of a kind of like vibes exploration game. So I'm a little bit more interested in this because I like hitting stuff with a sword as opposed to vibes.
Slightly meditative, puzzly sort of game. Yeah.
But it still looks incredible.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Are you kidding me?
All the art design for it is just like nuts. I like this weird looking was the guy from Spirited Away with the no face, right? Yeah. Like this kind of no face looking boss that they show off.
So pretty.
Very cool stuff. Let's see. After that, we got the trailer for a game called Moth Cubit, which is about a moth that works in an office. And it's like, I think it's like kind of a dystopian, like you have your weird bug coworkers, and it's kind of top down. You can like shrink down to be much smaller, and it looks like a very, I don't know, very one of those very cheeky, like, it doesn't work in an office really suck.
Yeah.
Even if you're a moth.
I appreciate the idea behind these, but at the same time, I don't want to come home from work and then play the go to work video game.
Yeah. Well, this one does seem like it's got a bunch of little like mini games and stuff. And the character designs are pretty cool. I don't know. The moth guy weirds me out a little bit.
Yeah. You have some bad experiences with moths.
No, actually, I really like moths, but it's just it looks like horns.
Yeah.
And not like
they're those
antennas.
fluffy antenna. You know?
Anyway, that's coming in the spring of next year.
Ooh.
Let's see. After that, we got a big announcement for the next game in the Coffee Talk franchise. So that's I don't know if you and I played the first one.
Coffee Talk.
You play as like a barista in a fantasy world where there's like orcs and stuff that come into like your coffee shop, and you kind of talk to them and watch them have relationships, and then you make them the coffees that they want. There's a little mini game where you make the coffees and stuff. They had the first one, then they had the second one that was called something flower and hibiscus or something like that. And now they're making another one, another really big one called Coffee Talk Tokyo. So I think it's it looks very similar to the previous ones of this kind of pixel art style and this it's like a world where there are mythological creatures on top of like the normal stuff, and you're still just like running a coffee shop, and then they come in and talk and you get to know them. Very like a cozy laid back game.
Kind of cozy game.
Yeah.
Cute.
And then you got the little thing where you can make your little coffees and you can draw stuff in the foam. I don't know. These are those games that I'm just like, this is a little too laid back for me.
I need like one more step of gameplay.
I need and then at night you have to go to a dungeon and fight monsters to get the coffee ingredients that you serve to the people during the day. But I mean, if you're into that, nothing wrong with that. Let's see. From there, this was very interesting. We got the news there's going to be a Sea of Stars DLC called Throes of the Watchmaker. Sea of Stars was like one of my favorite little indie RPG things that I played. It came out last year, and it got swept up, I feel like, in a lot of the hype from last year, and I played it right at the very end of last year.
Yeah.
Excellent game. Like, it's an RPG. It's like a JRPG, but it's got a very slow first 2 hours, and I think that put it off, especially when Michael and I played the dojo for it.
Yeah,
because it front loads like a lot of information, but then once you get past the first 2 hours, it just like starts going at this like breakneck pace where every 40 minutes there's like a new boss, there's a new encounter, there's a new like friend, there's a new ability that you get.
Yeah. I on my Switch, you know how you can see what other people are playing on your like other friends are playing. Everyone I know that plays Sea of Stars consistently still play Sea of Stars.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'll always see at least one friend playing it. It's like something like a whole group of my buddies will go back to every once in a while.
It's also it takes about, I don't know, 15 to 20 hours, so it's not like a long RPG.
Yeah.
And like I said, it definitely, the plot like just moves like crazy once it gets started. And so this is like a new DLC. It looks like it's got a lot. There's kind of a level in the game that was about this like kind of clockwork group, and it looks like there's a new like kind of steampunk robot buddy that'll be like a new companion with new powers, and then a bunch of new like enemies. And it looks really cool. I mean, just like more Sea of Stars is not a bad thing. I don't know. Also, the previous game, The Messenger, was really good. It's like half an 8-bit Ninja Gaiden Metroidvania game, and then halfway through it turns into like a 16-bit Metroidvania Ninja Gaiden game. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's coming next year. So, yeah.
Nice.
Be on the lookout. Let's see. we found out what the next Power Wash Simulator pack is.
I did hear about this one.
It is Shrek.
It is.
It is a Shrek thing. I Shrek is like a meme.
Yeah.
And I just liked Shrek when it came out, and then like the more it becomes an internet thing, the less I'm into it.
Yeah,
honestly.
I was pretty neutral on Shrek. Like I watched it and thought it was fun when it came out in theaters, whatever. I watched like the first two and was like, that's all I need. And now then like as time went on, I was neutral to it, and then I got into a almost shouting match with somebody about Shrek because I said people talk about it a lot because it's a meme.
Yeah.
And they were like, I just think you don't understand the cinematic masterpiece. And they were like, because I say stuff like cinematic masterpiece as a joke.
Yeah.
They were very serious.
Did you get Shrek-splained?
I got Shrek-splained.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they were like, it's just, you don't understand. It's
got layers like an onion.
Yeah, it was, oh God, I don't even, this was like an argument 3 years ago, and I'm so mad about it that I'm always like, hey, fuck Shrek. I hope all of the copies of Shrek burn to the fucking ground. I could live the rest of my life without watching Shrek or giving a flying fuck about Donkey.
Sure.
Like, I don't care. Yeah, once you get any kind of overly defensive about Shrek, I'll just burn it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Man, I didn't want none of that. I want none of that.
It was so stupid. They were like, it's just like a fantasy being told from the male perspective, which you never get. Now it's just like, I will murder you in your sleep.
I'm gonna come right over there and slap you in the face.
Christ.
Just do the Batman fucking slap, like, just bam.
Yeah, I've never seen a fantasy ever told by a male perspective before.
I'll tell you, I've never heard an eel song in a fantasy movie, but that's about it.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, good on them. Like, I thought that, I'll be honest, like, they did a Back to the Future pack. Really liked that. Had a lot of fun with it. They did, like, a Warhammer pack. That was really fun, except for the last level was so long. They did a Final Fantasy VII pack. I thought that was really great. The last one that they did was an Alice in Wonderland pack, and I played about half of that, and I'm not as drawn to like finish it.
Yeah,
because it's just like, well, it's
the hell are you even cleaning?
It's not you're cleaning like the giant mushroom house that the caterpillar would stay on top of, or like here's the white rabbit's house.
Yeah. Did they have you clean the Queen of Hearts roses and accidentally make them white again? Because that's all I can think about.
I don't know, because I didn't finish it, because it was like, because it's not Disney's Alice in Wonderland. It's not a specific. It's just like, here's our take on Alice in Wonderland. And with this, I'm a little bit more interested, but I liked it more when it was like, I like the contrast of either like something like Back to the Future, which just tonally doesn't hardly make any sense, or something like Warhammer, where it's this dark, gritty universe, and you're just spraying down their armor to get it clean for the next battle. So, also, Shrek wouldn't appreciate you cleaning his fucking swamp.
John told me about this, and I was like, but he lives in a swamp. I thought he wanted everything to be like the whole beginning, like montage. And John's like, well, I don't know. It's like colorful and rainbowy. Maybe he doesn't want it to be colorful. And I was like, I feel like I shouldn't have to... like logic my way through a Shrek DLC, but
I agree. Let's see. After that, we got a game called Morsels. This is
just a little morsel.
This is a weird game.
Ooh.
You play as a little mouse, and it's like,
that's a mouse.
Yeah, it's a little like stylized mouse, and there's like a bunch of cats around, and you eat these like morsels, and then you turn into other weird things that have different
one looks
power.
like a poop.
That one looks like a pink poop. Yeah,
clear.
It's got a really strange art style.
I kind of like that art. That looks like Garbage Heap from Fraggle Rock. Oh my God! Look how cute you can become.
Yeah, so I thought you might like this
one
because
a little barfy fly, a giant fucking pigeon.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Little frogs.
Also, that like giant.
It's like just
garbage can
dumpster,
like a fucking fly with a blonde wig on,
like doing like secretarial work.
Yeah, yeah. This is up my alley.
Yeah,
it's just ugly enough to work.
It's real scummy. It's real just like filthy.
Yeah,
and that can work.
That straight up looks like just a pile of poop with a Lana Del Rey crown on it.
It's like Frogger. And then it's got like a very striking art style.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to describe it, but just like very like once you see it, I don't know, it stands out of the pack. So I'd never heard of this before until it was announced, and it's coming February of next year. So
that's so far away.
Yeah. We got another trailer for Date Everything. We got a few new characters, which I thought was funny. This guy, I don't think we can figure out before. Is Amir?
Yeah,
yes.
I just realized it. That's great.
We got the toaster. We got Reggie, who I don't know what he is.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think they might have said in the trailer, and he is Rejection the Concept.
How do you even...
You can do, you say date everything. You can even date the concepts.
That's crazy.
Yeah. In fact, there's one that was like just ennui, like not ennui. What was it? It was like, because I know that you can also date the text box.
Oh my God.
That the text is displayed in. Oh yeah, your overwhelming sense of existential dread, Doug.
I don't want to date Doug.
Yeah,
Doug is ripped.
Doug is pretty ripped.
Damn, chill, Doug.
Yeah, there's a light.
There's a lamp.
The influence.
I love lamp.
Yep.
And now you can mean it.
And that's the text box. The text box from the game.
If they don't just like continuously.
Oh, and that lady is a bobby pin.
Yeah.
As we didn't know who she was either. So.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
If they don't come up with DLC for this, where they just add more stupid fucking concepts. Volt. So like electricity.
I think he's like a power strip.
Or a breaker.
Or the circuit breaker box, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Date Everything looks like it's going to be pretty cool.
We are playing that October 24th.
October 24th.
If I'm not playing it, you all hear it first. If you guys if it gets posted, it's a dojo and it's like Michael or Bryce or Chris or Tessa. You know,
hands will be thrown.
I quit RageSelect.
I'm out of here. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. After the number of things I made you play over the years, that's fair to be like.
You guys are just gonna hear like, "Hey everybody, welcome back to the dojo. I'm Jeff." And there's gonna be like, "I'm Blake," and then you're just gonna hear like me me running in like, "No, you fucking don't!" And then,
no, he's not.
Drop kick him out of here.
From there, we got the announcement. I had never heard of this before, of a game called Peglin.
Peglin.
In this, you play as a little goblin, and it's like a Slay the Spire thing. But the combat of the game is like Peggle. It's like a pachinko game.
Okay.
Tessa and I actually played this for Patreon.
Was it fun?
It's very fun. I mean, like, I think that there is a thing. I think there's such a thing as too much pachinko. Like, I don't want to play pachinko all the time, but it's refreshing every once in a while.
Wants to pachinko all the time.
Like, for a while you had Peggle and it was like good, and then it was like, well, before Peggle was even done, Peggle 2 came out, and then they had like DLC packs for Peggle 2, and everybody was playing Peggle 2, and I was like, well, I like a little bit of this, but not like a shitload.
You get like one game every once in a while,
but it's a roguelike, and you get different balls that all have funny names, and then they do different things, and so they'll make different like attacks, and you've got these kind of like enemies that slowly work their way across the map, and there's like bosses and stuff. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, seems cool.
Yeah, got a pretty good score, so I want to check it out.
Nice.
Let's see, and that was one of those, and it's available today. The next thing was this game called Wobbly Life, which I think is one of those like,
what the fuck.
You play as like these kind of like, they're like Funko Pops, like generic Funko Pops. And then it's like a physics game where you're like real.
You know what they look like? Not made out of yarn boy.
Oh, Sackboy?
Sackboy, that's his name.
Yeah.
But not made out of yarn, Sackboy. Do you know what I mean? That like very generic shape.
Yeah. And then it's like just doing a lot of stuff. I don't know. This one didn't do anything for me. I'm like,
looks cute, but I wouldn't.
I need more like direction. So something like Party Animals was fine, or like Gang Beasts, where it's like a multiplayer thing that works.
Fall Guys.
If you have something like Goat Simulator or like Squirrel with a Gun, where it's a little bit more higher fidelity, where you can tell what you're doing in the world, and you can be like, "Wow, that was crazy." But this is like abstracted and just a big open world full of collect pets, drive vehicles, dance, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to. You can't make me. December of 2024.
Like
you can't.
Animal Crossing on LSD or something.
I don't even know. From there, we got the a trailer for a game called Pico Park 2, which is a game where you have two players, and you're tethered together.
You can have more than 2 players, can't you?
Yes. You can have up to, I think, like 12 or something, 8 or 12 or something. And so it's one of these games where you've got to like solve puzzles by like.
We should do this for a Rage, like the holiday RageSelect stuff.
Oh, just everybody.
Just all the hosts trying.
Everybody tried to play this one fucking game. My goodness.
That would not last.
Friendships will be destroyed. I don't know. It's somewhat interesting. It's not really like the thing is that I think I would like this game, and I don't mean to be like a dick about it. I think I'd like this game more if it didn't look like it was composed of like 3 things. Like it's just like boxes and colors and not a lot else.
Yeah. No, I agree. I genuinely think this game was a made for like YouTubers.
Oh, sure.
Kind of game.
Yeah.
Like it seems cute, but at the same time, I think they just sort of they went simple so you can do anything. I don't know. There's the one where you're like bunny men, and it's the same, very similar thing.
Yeah. It doesn't stand out very much, and the concept isn't so interesting to be like, oh, so if it was like that same concept but it had like a more of an art style to it, I think I would be more interested, or if there was more of like a conceit of why it was like that, as opposed to just kind of like raw gameplay challenge. Here, little guy, get your little guy to the end of the thing. Can you do it fast enough?
Also, bold of you to assume I have friends.
Yeah. And that one also came out last week. So
nice.
Let's see. From there, we got the news that Shovel of Hope, the big Shovel Knight like collection that has all the expansions and stuff, is coming to the Switch in 2025. That's great. Shovel Knight is great. Everything about Shovel Knight is fucking great. So Europa is like a third-person adventure game where you play as a little kid with like a little jetpack backpack thing.
Does it look kind of Breath of the Wildy to you for a second there?
A little bit. Is coming October 11th. This is one of those ones where I've seen it a few times before, but it's always in the montage. We're in the montage, by the way, of of this one. The one called Cuisinier, where you play as like a little person that's like kind of an isometric. You're attacking stuff and getting ingredients, and then you're like setting up a shop to run it. Yeah. I'm a little over these kinds of games too, where it's like, oh, you're running a cafe, and I'm like, okay, you can stop there. I'm not really super interested in that part of it.
Well, whenever they do their like cozy game thing, it's like, and you're a dungeon crawler, you crawl through dungeons for your cafe,
right? And
then you're a witch who runs a cafe, and it's like, got it. Cozy means one thing to you guys.
Yep. I was never as interested in the management sim part of these games. So, on the other hand, I am really excited for On Your Tail, which is got a November 21st release date. It's where you play as like a furry like PI lady.
Yeah,
and you can
Did we talk about this before? I feel like it looked familiar.
There's been I haven't heard about it in a while, but it's like you've got a little special thing that lets you find information about stuff, and then you've got to kind of suss it out. I'm really hoping that the sussing it out version has some kind of like Golden Idol, Duck Detective DNA to it, of kind of filling in the blanks. I don't know. There was a demo for this over Steam Next Fest, but I didn't play it, so I don't know. Metal Slug Tactics, I think, didn't have a release date, but it does now, fall of 2024.
Well, that's coming soon.
This is one that's so weird because like Michael hates this game because he doesn't like tactics games, but he really likes Metal Slug. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we took your favorite franchise and then made a game that you have no interest in playing out of it. But I love tactics games, so I am like, can't wait for this one.
That's funny.
And then we also got, I think, another, Plucky Squire.
Cute.
Plucky Squire trailer.
Yeah.
Which is coming out September 17th. It's in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
So, which can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it looks really cute.
And then they finished up with the Pizza Tower.
Oh, God.
I was kind of surprised the Pizza Tower wasn't on the Switch already, but it is now.
Nice.
I was kind of surprised how there was like 2 months last year where Pizza Tower was like the thing.
I know. Nobody shut the fuck up about it.
I think it's a fine game. It's not for me with the kind of super hectic, like speed running, frenetic, like motion of it. But
I get it, but I won't play it. It'll hurt my brain.
Oh, with that, we're out of time. Spent too much time talking about movies this time. So we're going to have to go pretty quick through the second half of this because it's a partner showcase. And, oh, God, there's a lot of it. I didn't realize there was so much of it. Damn it. All right. Well, it's going to be a packed podcast this week. I should really pay more attention when I'm starting these things. But in any case, we're going to take a break. When we come back, second half of the Nintendo showcase. Stick around, everybody. And we're back.
Here we are. We've been here the whole time.
Yeah, we were just talking about Taco Bell for like 20 minutes.
Well,
so
save you guys the struggle of hearing us talk about it.
Yep.
As we do every time.
Pretty much every time we're together. Anyway, back to Nintendo. We got our Partner Direct Showcase. We're going to go through these a little bit quicker. We started with Tetris Forever, which is a package with a bunch of different versions of Tetris over the years. Tetris 2 plus Bomb Bliss, Tetris, like Bomb Bliss DX, Super Tetris 3.
Some of them are not in a language I speak.
Yeah, I don't really know. I've never been one of the people who's like, I need 18 versions of Tetris, please. I just need
the one version of Tetris.
Yeah. If you just give me the Game Boy version of Tetris, and that's fine.
It's great.
Let's see. From there, but you know what? This is actually an interesting thing because this is being made by Digital Eclipse. So they kind of marketed this wrong. This isn't just Tetris. They're the ones that made like a Karateka, and it was like the history of it with documents and interviews and timelines. That's also in here. So it's like
that's cool.
Several versions of Tetris, and then also like a whole history of how did it come to be. I think that history has largely been gone over enough times that I don't need to see it again, but it's good to be out there. So let's see. From there, we got a trailer for a game called Star Overdrive, where you play as a dude with a space surf skate hoverboard, kind of running around in a weird alien landscape, doing stuff, getting in combat, skateboarding, doing tricks and flips and stuff.
Oh my God,
big old
cute.
Big old turtle guys and hedgehogs and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
I don't know. It's one of those games where it's like, this is one of those games that I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be like, is it on something besides the Switch? Because it looks like it runs, like it looks like a game that would benefit from running a little better.
I agree.
And being a little sharper. And I get, if you're playing it on the screen, if you're playing in handheld mode, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know a little bit more about what is it like, what is it on other systems before really getting into it. But big up moral game, anime dude riding a space surfboard. Sounds good to me.
Seems like a good time.
2025. Here's a weird one. Goat Simulator 3 was not on the Switch. Goat Simulator 3 is now on the Switch.
Yeah, I was confused by this because I totally thought it was already on the Switch.
Yeah, I think that they just hadn't ported the latest version. And I think there's a lot of games out there, like I could be wrong about this, but I think there's a lot of games out there that didn't consider putting their games on the Switch because they were going to have to lower the frame rate and the fidelity to get it to run on the Switch.
Yeah.
That have now seen how many games users will buy with lowered fidelity on the Switch just because they want to play it on the Switch.
Yeah.
So,
also, just so we're clear, I don't really need Goat Simulator to be the most attractive game in the world.
Well, Goat Simulator 3 is a really good-looking game.
Yeah, we played it.
It's a very good-looking game. So, and it's also really fun. And it's out. Or at least a digital version is out. There's a physical version coming later this year. let's see. After that, we got Legend of Heroes Trails of the Sky first. This is one of those like long-running JRPG franchises.
Did it have Ewoks?
No, that's the next game.
Okay.
That's season 2 of Star Wars, or season 3 of Star Wars Hunters, which now features an Ewok in a little mini AT-AT.
That's cute.
As one of the new heroes.
That's smart.
That was you and I played that, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a good time. It was a little
basic,
like empty, like because there was like 4 characters,
right?
But it was fun. Like we had fun.
It's free to play. It's still going on, so might as well. Yeah. Let's see. They're putting out they wrapped up all the Stalker games, the old ones, into a collection earlier this year. They put out on the Xbox. Michael and I played them, and they're putting those out on the Switch.
Now you can get a shittier version for the Switch.
Well, these are such old games that I'm not even sure. I think it might be fine.
Yeah.
Like slightly lower resolution, but that like Stalker was never like a graphics powerhouse.
That's true. Okay.
So, yeah, it's coming out in November. Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition.
Fuck yes.
December 26th. It's so amazing to me that Worms is such a good gameplay concept that they could just keep putting it out, and I'm sure that people keep buying it.
Different versions.
Yeah.
But Worms Armageddon was like peak version, because like they went like 3-dimensional with it and stuff, but this
they had a battle royale one.
Yeah. No, just Worms I had Worms Armageddon for what was it, N64, and I played the fuck out of that game. That was I have a tendency to like, I'll pick something and just play it over and over. Like right now I'm playing Spelunky, and I'll just like throw on music and play the same and die over and over again. Just play the same thing over and over as my like comfort thing.
Yeah.
And Worms Armageddon was that. It was probably one of the first games that I really did that with. And all I did was they have these like challenge modes with the different weapons and stuff.
Like, can you finish this in 2 turns?
Like they have like a thing called a ninja rope.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it's a grappling hook or something, and you would just swing back and forth and pick up like extra time, and there'd be a timer going down, and it was like a challenge, and I would literally do that and be like 6 minutes straight, just keep going.
So you're the target audience for this.
Yeah.
This re-release.
I will be getting it. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Disney Dreamlight Valley is having a new event September 4th. Whatever.
Woo!
There's I don't know if I've heard about this before, but it's a Patrick Star SpongeBob game called the Patrick Star game. That
sounds fun.
That's just a third person kind of blapping around with
That literally
Patrick.
looks like Goat Simulator, but you're Patrick.
I would be more interested in playing Goat Simulator in the SpongeBob
Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, I'm not a SpongeBob guy, but it does look a little like physics simulator.
Yeah,
like the way that he's just kind of
rolling around
and doing goofy shit. So. But that is coming out on October 4th, which is strange because I don't think I've heard about this until this
thing. They need to do a lot of preemptive advertising for a SpongeBob game?
Well, it would be nice to let people know that it exists. Like, I don't know.
You know now?
I do.
And you have a month to save up for it.
Fitness Boxing.
Wow.
Fitness Boxing 3 is coming December 5th.
There have been 3 of them?
Yep. Not just that, but what's interesting is that
my fat ass has never played one of these.
They're adding in 2 new trainers, but the thing I found that was really weird is because this is just like a rhythm game where you box.
Yeah.
Is they have the like 30 brand new songs, and it's got a bunch of like really
Britney Spears, Billie Eilish,
we got Danger
Kenny
Zone,
Loggins,
Ghostbusters is in there. I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss.
Oh no,
what?
Thanks.
Yeah, Super Freak by Rick James is in there.
That's funny.
So,
God damn it!
Strange.
What does the Fox say is still getting airplay by you guys?
Well, you know, it's a game for people that want to play boxing games in their house. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, like they made a big thing in the trailer about change your instructor's hairstyle. And I'm
wow.
Like, whoa, okay, great.
That one's wearing a hat.
That's December 5th. Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is a thing. I think
if you're John and Michael, you care.
Yes.
You guys, John and Michael? Let us know in the comments down below.
John and Michael listening to this podcast. So, like, wait, let's see what was all on here. Capcom versus SNK, Millennium Fight 2000 Pro, Capcom versus SNK 2, Project Justice, Capcom Fighting Evolution, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Plasma Sword, Power Stone 2.
What is Power Stone? I've had so many people like hyped as shit about Power Stone. I've never in my life heard of it. I'm starting to think they made it up just now.
It's like a brawler. It's kind of like a Smash Brothers style game where you play. It's like a top-down kind of 3D game where it's not. Oh, don't search for Power Store. You won't get any. You get like weird stuff. So like. It's this arcade game that was like a kind of a fighting game. You choose your fighters,
cutesy
and then you're like you're kind of looking down on it. So it's like you're more running around in a stage, and you're picking up various power ups.
Okay,
and you're kind of attacking each other. So it's kind of an alternate take on a fighting game.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot more smashy than like Street Fighter.
Okay,
but apparently this is a big deal because these are games that you couldn't get anywhere else before.
Congratulations, John and Michael.
Congratulations. Also, they reiterated the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics also coming, which has a bunch of the X-Men Street Fighter games and the Punisher arcade game. So, yeah, that's all happening on the Switch as well. Let's see. After that, this is a weird one. I don't know how to talk about these games. This is Altair Yumiya, which is some kind of like third-person anime lady action-adventure game. This is another one of these, like, this is the 8th game in a franchise that I don't play and have never cared about. I mean, like, all the graphics and everything look real nice.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Like, it looks fine, but this just kind of starts to blend into the background of various anime hack and slash games.
Yeah.
So
my brain just shuts it off.
There might be something specific about it that I don't understand, but it seems to me like one of those things where like we have a very niche audience, we keep putting out games, they keep buying them type of thing. Suikoden 1 and 2 are getting a remaster. That's coming March 6th of next year. This was
Ooh.
I don't know if you know about this. This was an old JRPG, and one of the big things about it was that you would get like 100 different like teammates, and then you create these big teams, and you would like do these big battles where you had like 8 people in your party, and everybody had like a little bonus quest, so everybody had a little bit of characterization.
This is one of those 100 hours games that you play forever and ever.
I think these are shorter because they're old, because they're like these are like PS1
I guess
games.
That makes sense.
There was a game called Aiden Chronicles that came out this year that was by the same guy. I'm really more interested in what was the name of this? Suikoden 3 and 4 than I am 1 and 2, because 3 and 4 was where it went 3D, I believe. Anyway, it's fine, but like it's good to have remasters. I'm pretty agnostic about that stuff.
Yeah.
Coming out March 6th of next year.
Huzzah.
We saw the Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake again. This is coming out like November 14th. They showed that you can kind of customize your character, your party members a little bit. As a reminder, this is also going to have Dragon Quest 1 and 2, or Dragon Quest 1 and 2 will eventually get added to this because technically Dragon Quest 3 takes place before 1. It's like the first chronological part. So if you play that and then you the same art style, you do 1 and then you do 2, that's like considered that's called the Erdrick Saga. So, but I think they're just launching with that, and then they're going to be adding the rest of those later, the other ones later. From there, this is the one that was for Jeff, the Castlevania Dominus collection.
Yeah.
So they made a bunch of Castlevania games that were on the GBA that were like ones that I really liked, and they put this out in a collection. I never thought I would see these because these are DS games, which is why they have all the stuff here, because you're supposed to be able to look at both screens at the same time.
Oh, right. Fuck, I forgot the DS.
Yeah. So, and it also has like touchscreen stuff. So this is Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia, which were the 3 DS games. Michael and I did a dojo. These seem like really good. The only problem I have with it is there's no way. So because all of that information was on both of the dual screens at the same time, there was a separate pause menu. So like there's no way to just have the action on screen. You have to have all of those screens. There's no way. And they're always like on the left-hand side, like you saw at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's a little disorienting when you first start playing it because the action is all like on
it feels
two-thirds of your TV.
Yeah, like shoved over a little bit.
Yeah. But it's still great that these games, this is like my version of that Capcom thing where like there was no way to play these outside of having an original DS. Now there is. And those are out that day. So good stuff. Oh, also the original arcade game that was called Haunted Castle, that was Castlevania before it was brought to other systems. They have that on there, and then they also did a remaster, like a kind of a remix of the game where it's not like a full redo, but it's like better graphics and it works a little better.
Yeah.
So that's all in there, and I think it's like $25, so it's a pretty good deal.
Not bad at all.
Civilization 7 is coming to the Switch February 11th.
Hell yeah. Let's get civil, brothers.
I can't play these games. I don't want to play these games. Civilization. I played one of them and it ate my brain.
I don't even want to live in a civilization. You want me to play Civilization?
You want me to create one from scratch? God, it's the devil's work.
It's like the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm trying to run screaming naked from my house and go back to the trees. You want me to build the Eiffel Tower? Fight assholes. Another Tales. This is another like obscure JRPG. Tales of Grace's F Remastered is coming out January of this year. It's another kind of little anime people walking around doing adventures. I'm not very interested in that. I gotta be honest. They're re-releasing My Sims. This was like, I think it was like a Wii or a GameCube. I think it was a GameCube version of The Sims that was made specifically for those consoles as opposed to just the regular schmegular version. I remember this, and I didn't like The Sims at that time, and I still kind of meh.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that are very excited about this because it's going to tap a real hardcore nostalgia button in their brain.
It's a very specific group.
Is that? Did you play this? Do you know? Is this what
I did play it? But I don't remember caring about it. Like, where I think I was like, this looks like right up my alley, and then I like played it for a week and was like, oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
that was it.
Sometimes you can have done something when you're a child and you don't want to go back to it as an adult. So
I have a tendency, especially with Sims games, to spend a lot of time building everything up, and then when it's time to actually play, I'm like, I'm done.
And I'm done.
Yeah.
November coming out. Retro release. It's got the, I guess, 1 and 2 in one cozy. My Sims and My Sims Kingdom. So I guess there was the urban one and then like a medieval one.
Yeah.
So crazy. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up playing it. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll
That'd
be like,
fun.
Can't believe I've never seen it before.
Let's make ourselves.
Yeah. Last time I made Jeff in The Sims, he was depressingly too much like Jeff in The Sims.
Like, we gotta go back.
He got really anxious about not seeing people, so I sent him to a party, and he awkwardly talked to 2 people and then peed himself and went home. And I was like, God damn it, get out of my head.
Just like in real life.
I always peed myself in real life. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 is coming out on the Switch. I think this was the VR game that has been converted into just like a first-person game where it's a bunch of little mini games. This is still part of the like screaming your face
era,
and I'm not super into it. So,
I am interested in Five Nights at Freddy's, but not in playing it. Does that make sense? Like, like I will watch a game theory talk about the characters, but I'm never gonna pick up any of those games.
I tell you what, Michael and I played that Into the Pit game, and it was pretty good because it was like an adventure game, and it wasn't like, it was a nice pixel art, and it was kind of spooky and weird, and like it was very strange. So
that one is the only one that actually looked like a game.
Also, remember the other game they put out, like the big, what was it called? Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, where you go back to the 80s as a kid and it's 3D.
And you hide inside Freddy and stuff?
Yeah.
We played that a little bit, didn't we?
I think
we got
so.
Like chased around by things.
There's a DLC for it called Ruin that's coming out this holiday season. So, all right. how far did this list start? Oh, we're pretty far down the list.
Nice.
Pretty far down the list. Let's see. From there, we had a montage. I don't know. A lot of this stuff.
Epic Mickey. We've talked about that.
I'm really excited about the Epic Mickey thing because I never played the first one because it was motion controls and I didn't want to. Yeah. And it was also on the Wii.
Whereas this is like hands like a baby's game.
This is like a real sharp, nice remaster with like, like thumbstick controls. So
like an adult,
like a man. So the Lord of the Rings Shire game.
I've already shit talked this game.
Yep, I've shit talked enough too. There's Just Dance 2025, October 15th.
Can't shit talk it enough.
Funko Fusion.
God, it's all the things I hate.
Yep, shit talked a lot of that. God, that's
sorry, everybody. You can play whatever you want, but don't.
EA Sports FC.
Stop shoving your Funko Pops down my throat, guys.
EA Sports FC. Soccer. How about football?
How about
And then the Lego Horizon Adventures.
I don't even understand it.
It's Lego Horizon Zero Dawn.
Why?
Because you can't play Horizon Zero Dawn on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, that's kind of a fun idea where they're like the Nintendo Switch. If the game's too advanced for what the Switch can handle, we'll just make it a Lego game.
Yes.
That is kind of amazing.
And then I'm so sorry. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma is coming spring 2025, and I'm just gonna have to put this one over here with my other. I don't understand. It's just like an anime game.
Luck dragons. There's sheep.
The little sheepy guys.
Like a sheep angel.
Oh, this one has like a farming thing. So you got like a farming simulator, but then also
what the fuck's up with every game being a farming thing?
It's like the
cafes and farms.
Yeah,
what's up with you guys? You ain't never been to a Starbucks before?
It's called Stardew Valley. It happened, and then everybody wants to do that. You make villages in this, like you build entire villages, and I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about this because it looks.
I mean, it's cute.
Like, I like the part where they're slashing the monsters, but then I don't like the part where you have to farm crops. I don't want to farm crops. You guys got to understand, some of us don't want to farm crops. And while I'm at it, can I just say, Amanda, there are some of us out there that don't want your racing and or fishing mini games. I do not want your racing and or fishing mini games. I'm not interested in racing and or fishing. So fucking get rid of them, or at least don't shove them in my face and make me have to do one of them because I don't want to do one of them. I want to do exactly zero of them.
I want to do none of them.
Anyway, this game doesn't look too bad. So, whatever.
It looks fine.
I'm sure it's got fishing and racing.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we finished up with a very strange thing. Yakuza Kiwami, the remake of the first Yakuza game, is getting put on the Nintendo Switch. Here's my twisty strangeness, Amanda.
Yeah.
These games are so high resolution and they run so well in their engine that stepping them down to the Switch, they still look really good.
Yeah.
Like the art style is still great. The character expressions all come through. Kamurocho is just a bunch of like shiny lights and stuff. Like some of the shadows are a little sketchy, but if you have not played Yakuza before and you only have a Nintendo Switch, this seems like a perfectly good way to play that.
Hell yeah.
And also, let me just make up for some of my earlier I don't cares and shit talking. Yakuza is one of the best franchises that's ever been made, and I love it so much to death. So
hell yeah.
Except, you can also play, what is that called?
Mahjong?
Mahjong. Every one of these games has a Mahjong parlor, and I refuse to learn how to play Mahjong. I just don't know.
Playing Mahjong. It's basically a matching game.
Yeah. No. It's not Mahjong. It's that one that's kind of like chess. Go. I also can't really play, but there's one where it's like you have like specific pieces. It has like little triangle guys that you like move on like a grid and stuff. I don't know. There's like 3 Japanese games that apparently it would be like if I asked somebody from a country that had never played, I don't know, Uno to play Uno, and you're just like, what is this? It's so complicated. There's a lot of rules, and I don't know the strategy.
Yeah, and the rules show up on the fly, and it's like, what?
Yeah, or like Monopoly. If you tried to just hand Monopoly to somebody who had never played Monopoly.
Full disclosure, I didn't know until I became an adult and tried to play Monopoly with other people that my family just made up their own rules for Monopoly.
And that is Nintendo.
Huzzah!
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
How's a lot?
I don't, but here's the thing, Amanda. There were like maybe 5 things in there that I was really all that interested in.
Yeah.
Like, it
was going to be rough for them anyway. I found out about the Direct because they tweeted, like Nintendo of America tweeted, this Direct is not going to announce the Switch 2.
They always have to do that.
It's crazy. But so I don't know. They jam packed it with stuff, but half of the stuff I didn't particularly care about. So it was just like, well, sometimes you just got to montage through all the things that you want to let people know about that aren't necessarily wildly exciting.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Well, I have a whole bunch of other news. Let's go through it real fast.
Okay.
The big story from last week is that Concord, the multiplayer online game that Sony has put out, has wildly flopped.
Sad.
It's a $40 kind of hero shooter with some interesting ideas, but like when Matt and I were playing it, I only realized about like 30 minutes in, I was like, oh, there are no ults in this game. Like none of the characters have like ult powers.
Oh.
And so like when your team starts to lose,
there's
like,
nothing to really change the momentum.
It's really hard to turn it back around. Anyway, that's just one thing. There's a lot of people that have a lot of different problems with this game. A lot of people have rightfully pointed out that this game is $40 and it's just a $40 video game, and games like this are free to play. Like I've got a lot of other free to play options that are not this. Now, that's a little weird because a lot of people who don't like microtransactions will be like, I wish you would just charge me up front and then just give me stuff. And I'm in that camp. The main thing is that like they've been very unclear about their roadmap, and the cosmetics are not very good, and there's not a lot of like, I don't know. It's like you still have to earn new cosmetics and like upgrades to stuff, and it's like, well, I paid $40, maybe just give me all the customization options, because I didn't give you money. Why do I have to now also grind out the unlocks?
It's kind of rough. You got to find that sweet spot between it all, so you're like making money but not overcharging or annoying your audience.
But for just to show August 26th, this last week, Concord hasn't even cracked 1,000 concurrent players on Steam.
Wow, that's
yeah,
that's sort of rough.
Let's see, the highest amount of all players enjoying Concord at once currently is 697.
Wow, that's sad.
And that's like, it was peak on the Friday that it released, and then Saturday those numbers went down, and then Sundays those numbers went down.
3 people playing,
which like is bad for the weekend for a launch game that you want. Helldivers 2 right now, another Sony game that came out earlier this year, had 18,000 concurrent players this weekend. So we're going to talk about it in a minute, but Valve has a game called Deadlock that's like in real shadow beta right now. It's got 80,000 people playing it right now. So this is like an abysmal failure, and there have been a lot of news stories saying that Concord was in development for like 8 years.
Maybe too long, and just
probably. And like we were doing the math during the break about how like if you started 8 years ago, it probably seemed like a really good idea to make an Overwatch clone that was your own, because Overwatch was not even hated. But now people fucking hate Overwatch. Like they don't even like the they don't even like the primo brand of that kind of thing. So this is probably dead on arrival. I thought that the game it's interesting to me because I thought that the game was okay, and it had some interesting elements that I could see would be interesting moving forward. Unfortunately, this is like the fucking Borderlands movie. Like I think they'll probably throw it on PlayStation Plus within the next month, and it probably won't do very well there either when it's free. And it'll probably get shut down within 6 months, which is not good for that studio. Especially for Sony.
It's kind of a bummer. I mean, the best you can hope for, honestly, the only real success that they'll get is if they put it on like PlayStation Plus, and then for some reason it just hits.
It's possible that it could go free to play, and there are enough people who then pick it up in free to play, and it gets, because I keep reminding people that like the coding is done, right? So leaving the servers running the existing code is not as expensive. You can have a very small team to keep an online service going once it's all done and up. So it's possible that they could course correct if they get a small dedicated fan base, but
yeah, there's not enough people playing to even kind of get a fan base.
Yeah, you have to have enough people playing to be able to matchmake so that if somebody new comes to play the game, they can actually get into a match.
Yeah.
Like Matt and I were trying, there was like a game mode, and then when you got to a level, you unlocked a second one, and then there was a third one that was kind of like a round-based Counter-Strike thing that unlocked when you hit a certain level. And during our recording, we unlocked that. We tried to get into it. We sat there for like 3 minutes, and we didn't get a match, and it was just like...
That's rough, yeah.
There's some other stuff related to this game, but I'm not going into it because I don't give a shit. Like,
I don't give a fuck.
I think that this is a lot like Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, where I think that if this game had come out 5 years ago, it probably would have had an audience.
Yeah.
It's just that we are now in an era where this style of game does not ask you to pay money up front, and people are just kind of sick of this style of game.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to do something really unique to draw people in for it, and this looked like a clone of something else that already exists.
It definitely had its own kind of like idea, but I just like...
But nothing too bold. Like when you described it, it didn't sound like, and when I think we saw a trailer a couple podcasts back before it came out. Yeah.
And I think it's got a really good art style, and it's really kind of channeling like Guardians of the Galaxy flavor to it. But then when you get into it, it's just a 5v5 shooter. So yeah. But I don't know.
Also, like... Is the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe viable? Those movies have been out for a while. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if this had come out like last year when the third one was out, it might have. Like the main guy, the yellow guy that you saw, he is his ultimate skin is he has blue skin.
So and he looks like Yondu.
He's got a red crystal mohawk and goatee, so he kind of looks like Yondu. Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't know because there's some question as to like, again, I think if that game had come out 5 years ago, it would have been much more well received. Yeah. But right now it's probably just going to lose Sony a shitload of money. So
sad.
This is another one. The concurrent player count is lower than that Gollum game that came out last year that just like fucking ran into the ground and killed the studio that made it.
Oh,
that had a highest peak concurrent player count of 758 players.
Wow.
So
well, you know, Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, so Valve, we mentioned Deadlock, has been messing around with this Deadlock game, which is kind of like a steampunk magic first-person shooter that's also a MOBA, where you have like 3 lanes with AI creeps, and then you have like hero characters that fight each other. But there's also like these like zip lines that go across the entire map so you can get in and out of action really quickly. Apparently it's like a really good combination of stuff. And what they've been doing is they've been having it in beta, and it's one of these things where if you get into the beta, you get like 2 invites, and then you can invite other people to come into the beta. And they've been really tight-lipped about it. They won't announce it. It doesn't have anything. It's just been like running. Everybody knows it's a thing. Yeah. Like they've leaked all kinds of gameplay and screenshots and stuff. But Valve has been very just like, no. And then until very recently, there was like a controversy a few weeks back where like a games journalist skipped he was able to skip the thing that came up that was the NDA for playing the game, and he just like didn't agree to it, and then just captured a shitload of footage of like, well, I never fucking agreed to the NDA, so I'm just gonna put all this on the internet.
Well.
And then the Valve fanboys got mad at him, and it was a whole thing. But anyway, all this is to say, the game now has a Steam store page, and it exists. Now, Amanda, take a look at this Steam store page and tell me what is wrong with it.
Oh, no. I don't know.
So, you know when you go to a normal Steam store page? Here's the thing. First off, this has a 22-second teaser video. You know how most games have, like, screenshots?
Yeah.
That's required to put your game on Steam, to have 5 screenshots of the game.
Yeah.
This has none of that.
But... You're allowed to break your own rules, aren't you?
Well, that's a good question. There's some guy on Twitter that's been getting really pissed off about this, where they're talking about like, Valve broke their own rules by doing this stuff. Also, you notice that like there's very little information. There's no system requirements. Yeah. There's very little description of the game. There's hardly anything going on here. So it's real anemic. And they didn't put out like a trailer, like a promo trailer or anything like that. Nothing. Just like very much like, well, people know it's out there, so put up a page for it. You can't wish list it.
Yeah.
You can't like pre-buy it. You can't do anything right now. So it's interesting to see such a bare bones. Like we don't see Steam pages like this.
Yeah.
We don't ever see Steam pages that are this sparse. They have to have some amount of information, but it is out there. And it seems to be so early. Also, by the way, if anybody in this audience has a key, RageSelect@gmail.com. I do want to play this.
Yeah.
I haven't been like gagging for it or anything, but like I would like to check it out.
Absolutely.
So, there's also a lot of like placeholder stuff, and this has led to a new joke on the internet. So like here's a character, and it's like, oh, here's their whole backstory, and it's this big long thing about when Mystic Energy awoke and they did this thing and blah 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 blah, right? And then here's a second character, and they have like one paragraph instead of 3 paragraphs, where it's like, forged by the hands of a widowed junk attendant, Bebop was more than just a scrap golem laborer. He was the son she couldn't have, and whatever. And then there's this character called Lash, and it just says, Jacob Lash is an asshole. Like that's the only thing in the character description.
Beautiful.
And everybody's like, oh, they just left a placeholder there. And there's a large portion of people who are like, no, don't you change a thing.
It's perfect.
Like everybody else has these deep in-depth backstories.
This guy's just an asshole.
Just an asshole. Just a fucking asshole.
I love it.
So, yeah, I want to check it out. I want to check it out. You know what? I'm moving this down.
Nice.
I'm moving this one down for later.
Shuffling happening now.
We got that every day I'm shuffling. We got some news that apparently Toys for Bob was working on a Crash Bandicoot 5 for Activision. So Toys for Bob made the Spyro reboot games, and then they made Crash Bandicoot Racing, and then they made Crash Bandicoot 4 that was like a big thing. It was like a love letter and all this crazy stuff. It looked great. It ran great.
Yeah.
Apparently after that, they started doing a prep work for Crash Bandicoot 5. And the big thing was that they wanted it to be a crossover with Spyro. So it would have Spyro
the Dragoon?
And Crash Bandicoot, the same game, which is perfect. They're
total
works well.
Yeah.
Apparently they only got like 3 or 4 months into prep work, and then Activision said that Crash 4 didn't sell well enough, which is sold like 5 million copies, which is not like a lot, but it was like a full price video game.
Yeah.
Like it's not like nothing. So then they made them make a weird online adversarial multiplayer Crash Bandicoot game that came out and has been shut down.
Yeah.
And then they just made them make Warzone maps until they finally managed to buy their freedom out from underneath them and started working on something. I think it's a new Spyro game, actually.
No, that sucks. But I'm glad they bought their own freedom.
Yep.
Sometimes you get trapped in bullshit and you got to get the fuck out of there.
I like it when I see studios that are able to get going on their own.
Yeah.
As opposed
more studios need to go on their own and stay on their own, because once you get bought up, you're nothing but a number.
That's very true. Speaking of Crash Bandicoot, we learned this is a little strange. There was a interview with one of the people that's making the new Astrobot game that's coming out in like 2 weeks. They were talking about how they make the Astrobots into all the different Sony characters. I don't know if you've seen that for the first game, where they're like, you'll find a little Death Stranding guy or a little Bloodborne guy. And one of the things that they mentioned was how they had a hard time making the Astrobot into Crash Bandicoot. And people were like, Crash Bandicoot is owned by Activision. Activision is owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot is a Microsoft product. How's Crash Bandicoot in?
Do explain.
But apparently there's some kind of deal going on there, because Crash Bandicoot's going to be in the Astrobot game.
Sure. Okay.
Which is nice. Like I said, not a lot of. It's a light news week. So
yeah.
Bethesda is pulling some. I don't know about this. This is a strange thing. So they showed off the Indiana Jones game last week. They did their big thing with the different pre-order bonus editions, and apparently they have an outfit for Indy that is his big open shirt from Temple of Doom that only comes with the $100 collector's edition of the game at launch.
You want to free the nips, you got to pay the price, guys.
Yeah. Apparently there's some fine print that says that all of these will be available to purchase at a later date, but like there's a timed exclusivity launch where like you can only get, I don't know, this news article is like, it's the sexiest Indiana Jones costume.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is no sexiest Indiana Jones. It's Indiana Jones.
I thought it was when he was dressed as like the professor.
It is.
When the girl has the little love you eyes.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say that, but then I didn't, and then you caught me in that lie.
He's got the glasses and the suit.
Yeah.
That's what I know what women really want, okay? Rough and tumble adventure? No.
Yeah. The
hunky college professor? Yes, please.
The like ripped shirt, muscles showing, that's for men. That's the male gaze. Smart, sensitive, like intelligent Indiana Jones, that's for the ladies.
We also got a big roadmap for Space Marine 2. So Space Marine 2's launch is in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
And they put out a big thing talking about how in September they're going to spend the rest of the month basically fixing the game, anything that comes up after it gets in the wild. And then for the rest of the year, they're going to build in some new difficulties, some new missions, and a new enemy. And then they have a plan for 2025. Season 3 is some new missions and modes. Season 4 is going to have Horde mode as well as some new enemies. So a bunch of these have new enemies, so it seems like they're adding stuff in. And they also have like a little battle pass, season pass pack that comes with like nothing but cosmetics. So everything that I just listed off at the top is all free. So I'm going to get it for free over the next couple of years. So
that's fun.
Everything I've heard about it sounds like this game is incredible and amazing and is going to be awesome. And if you want to see what happened in the first game, you can watch Blake and I play it on Sequential Saturday. So let's see. Bandai Namco has a game called Blue Protocol that was announced a little while back that was like a big MMO that Amazon was sponsoring. I couldn't even remember it. I had to look it up. I couldn't remember ever hearing about it or seeing it. It was basically like their idea was they wanted to kind of make like an MMO that was also like gave users the ability to play through their own anime story, like make your own story kind of thing. It was very generic. It like very fell into like, it was announced for the West at the Game Awards 2022. It has their standard kind of CG anime characters. The gameplay is kind of third person over the shoulder, like action adventure.
All of these start looking exactly the same after a while.
It's because when you start making the 3D anime characters to make them look good, they all look the same.
Yeah.
Well, this was out in Japan. It was in beta in Japan. It's been canceled.
Oh God! like Japan was like, no.
Well, apparently, like that came out, it did okay, but then they kept losing players to the point where they like pulled devs off of working on content to be like, why the fuck are we losing players this hard?
Yeah.
And so they announced that like they're just never bringing it to the West.
Wow.
And they're shutting it down in Japan, and they're not giving. But the other thing is that like it had a real money currency to buy stuff.
Yeah.
No refunds, baby. Yeah. People are getting 5,000 rose orbs, which was the real money currency a month up until the point where it gets shut down, but it's never getting fully released. I'm filing this one under the Amazon kiss of death.
Yeah.
Because Amazon has been trying to break into gaming.
And it has not worked out whatsoever.
They had one weird janky MMO that people were slightly interested in called The New World, and that was about it. But yep.
Get your shit together, Amazon.
Speaking of weird New World stuff, Greedfall 2's devs are going on strike. Greedfall 2 is being made by Spiders, which is a French dev studio. The French take striking and labor rights way more seriously than we do.
Yeah, they do.
They probably had an incident in the past where people in power were held to account in a very dramatic way. Couldn't imagine what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is such a departure from American stories.
Yeah.
They put out a big open letter that was signed by about half their staff, 44 of their 95 staff, that is basically a list of fucking grievances. And I read about a third of it because I didn't want to read the entire thing. But it's got little graphics and
holy crap, that is nicely put together.
Little characters that have been done by the art team. And the stuff that they're talking about is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's just like, I'll give you one example and you will understand the kind of company. I'll give you two examples. One, apparently their vacation days reset in May, and in March they hired a bunch of new people on, and people were very unclear about what the new policy was with all these new hires that they did. And so they asked management, well, what's going to happen with our vacation days? In the past, they either got to
like roll them over.
They either got to roll them over, or we could cash them in as like extra overtime, basically. And management said in March, no, the new policy is they just expire in May, and none of that other shit is here anymore. So, like, you can take your vacation in fucking May, which is what the one little graphic of the two people at a beach, like, freezing their asses off, like in May is, because they just told them this, like, 3 months before their vacation was about to pop, even though what I just described had been the policy previously. Another thing, apparently, was that they asked for months and months and months and months. They asked management to allow them to work from home during the Olympics because they're located in Paris.
Yeah.
And they said, we would like to work from home during this because the traffic means that we have to leave like 2 hours early to get to places that we could get in 10 minutes when there isn't a fucking Olympics happening.
Yeah.
Management had nothing to say up until the point where the Olympics happened. When that happened, they said, no, you still have to come into the office. They said, well, it's the middle of summer and it's a long commute. And they said, well, the office is air conditioned, so it's not a problem.
I fucking hate when...
and apparently that air conditioner was like, well, their studio doubled in size and it isn't strong enough for the number of people that are there, and it's halfway broken, and they did a whole like, and so it was 20 degrees Celsius, and I had to look that up, Amanda. It's like 85 at your work, and your boss has told you must come in. So like, dude, fuck the man. Like, and so they're going on strike, which basically means they're going to go like right outside the offices that they work at to go on strike. Also, they said that they're having for people that can't show up, a custom Minecraft server where those people could go to virtually strike in a Minecraft.
That's amazing.
In Minecraft. You could strike in Minecraft.
I love it. That's like good for them. They should strike.
I agree. Oh boy. Okay. We're going over time, so let's just like super turbo these. That horrible Foam Stars game that Square put out.
We played it.
Yep. Is going free to play later this year.
It wasn't free to play.
Oh no. They wanted like $30 American for that.
Fuck.
And
that shit. That should have been free to play.
Well, it was if you had PlayStation Plus, which is the only reason we played it. Because I was not about to put out money because I knew that game was going to be trash when I got it.
I mean, it wasn't awful, but it's not $30.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Like it's fine. You know what I mean?
It's nothing.
But like,
you get nothing.
You get nothing.
You will like it. So anyway, it's going free to play October 4th. The weird thing is that that's in a couple of months. Normally when you go free to play, you just like do it like next week. So there's people who could potentially not see this news and buy the game between now and October 4th, even though it's going to go free to play.
But like, who's gonna buy the game right now?
That's true.
You know.
The Witcher 4 is entering full production very soon. This is just an earnings call thing where they said that like they're done with pre-production, so they're entering like full production, which is good. The game is slated to come out next year, but whether that happens, it's probably not going to hit that. It'll probably be 2026 at the earliest, just because they haven't gone into full production until now, and we're already like most of the way through this year. So. They also said in that earnings call that CD Projekt Red would be interested in doing more animated cyberpunk stories in the future, not necessarily a continuation of Edge Runners, but just something else in that same universe. And given how well Edge Runners came out, I hope they do and applaud their efforts. So
good job, guys.
And let's finish up. Stardew Valley's creator, Eric Barone, has talked about how he's been desperately trying to get a character into Fortnite.
Oh, my God.
And the character that he wants to get into Fortnite is this lady right here, who is Pam, the surly, like, bus driver in Stardew Valley, because he loves the idea of this busted up, like, older lady with a machine gun sniping Pickle Rick from across the map. So
that's insane and should happen.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see Stardew Valley characters show up there. I don't know how much crossover there is between the player base of Fortnite and the player base of Stardew Valley, but
that's like your kids and the game mom plays.
Right.
But, they put everything in there. I don't know why they wouldn't put this.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they got to be running out of stuff. Like, they're putting fucking YouTubers and shit in there. Like, go ahead and put Pam in there.
Gross, guys. YouTubers?
Throw Pam in there. Yeah, who likes that? Who likes that?
What
Nobody
if Puppet Jeff was in Fortnite?
I would pay for that because I want to see his noodly Adventure Time
like
felt legs.
Yeah.
Like I love it when Muppets try to walk. It's never looked right.
Yep.
And we all accept it.
Kind of weird, yeah.
Like go watch Kermit the Frog walk around. It's fine. It does the job, but it is not what we would say optimal.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to go and take a break. We come back. We've got a shitload of trailers.
Hell yeah.
We already had a bunch of trailers from Nintendo, but there was other ones from other companies. So we'll see you in a minute for those. Stick around. And we're back. And we have some trailers left to go, and we are going to start with the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 official trailer that just came out, the first actual trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yep.
Man, I have to say that, like, this is so stupidly dramatic.
Yeah.
With there's a bunch of guys in black uniforms pointing guns at a black hedgehog in a tube.
Shadow, just like.
That it might actually
we need Project Sonic.
Go all the way back around to being so stupid that I want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think I might want to watch, because I haven't watched any of them.
I watched the first one and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know if I need the Knuckles one.
But it's Idris Elba as Knuckles.
That's okay. That's fine.
It's so strange though. What is Idris Elba as Knuckles and Keanu is Shadow?
Yeah.
So you got the fucking John Wick Shadow. Like I gotta say, there's like a cognitive dissonance in this trailer to when the three primary colored rodent heroes jump out of a helicopter to fight the edgelord black and red here, and like they're like in the middle of like a ruined city, like a city that has exploded where like shit's on fire and there's like property damage.
Yeah, he's just
I don't know. I don't know. It's so dramatic. Every part of this trailer was so dramatic.
It's so still like James Marsden, his face smashed into the ground, shouting,
Sonic the Hedgehog!
He had a similar journey to you, Sonic, but where you found love and family, he only found pain. And it's like, guys, they are cartoons.
It's a stuffed animal, for God's sake. Like, yeah, like 2/3 of this trailer was so dramatic. Then it was like, and then here's Jim Carrey, like just
Jim Carrey
doing his thing. Yeah,
people are talking about how funny it is that Jim Carrey was like, I'm retiring from acting, but for some reason,
I'll come back
every time a Sonic movie comes out. He's in it, and now he's doubly in it.
He's two Dr. Robotniks.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, but also, when I watch this trailer, I haven't watched any of them, but like I can almost see like what a fun role this seems to be for him, where he just gets to fucking go nuts, be Jim Carrey, and it's fine. Like, he doesn't have to dramatically yell Sonic while his face is being smashed up against the corner.
He probably would. He probably could.
I don't know. This looks so fucking stupid, and I love it.
Yeah,
like,
it's so silly.
I wish it was.
This is
the 90s still.
This is one of the, like, we bullied a company.
Yep.
Into changing the way a character looked before it came out. Rightfully so, because that shit looked awful.
Yep.
And then everyone, when they changed it, and they're like, okay, we're going to like delay releasing it. We're going to change it. And they made it and they made it better. And everyone was like, if we bullied them, we have to go at least watch this movie. And then it ended up being like a decent movie.
Yep.
And now we're trapped in this fucking franchise.
In the live action Sonic-averse.
Like, the craziest thing is, if Sonic looked like shit, nobody would have watched it.
Oh, sure.
And it would not have been like this.
I'm just curious if like after Shadow, you've got to go to like Amy and like Rouge the Bat and like
but those aren't like main stories, right? Like those.
Well, you got to keep bringing in new fucking CGI stuffed animals.
Bring in characters, but like these are like the two. Knuckles and Shadow are like the two bigger.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Then they have to go back to their home world, right? In the third one,
that's true. You could start getting into
a love interest with Amy.
I don't believe,
and she doesn't like Sonic at first, but then slowly they start to work together.
Isn't it the opposite?
Yes, but that's what you do for the movies.
I think you could have a great time with Sonic getting sexually harassed by Amy.
I want there to be a love triangle between Sonic and Shadow and Amy. That's what I want. Will they? Won't they? I want 4 seasons of television. Actually, they put out that Knuckles
remake Twilight, but it's Amy, Sonic, and Shadow.
Yes, I'm Team Sonic. Oh God. Oh my God. Anyway, that's happening.
I know what you are. Say it.
Hedgehog. Okay. Speaking of horrifying nonsense, Call of Duty. We got some Call of Duty trailers. There's a Call of Duty event. I'm not going to go over everything that happened. We got the Black Ops 6 early access beta trailer. I always like to watch these because they're always amazing and they look really cool.
Yeah, almost makes you want to play the game.
Makes you want to play the game, as long as you forget that that's not how playing the game actually looks. They also had, I don't know what it was. Amanda, you know modern music. You might know. It was some kind of track where it was using the backing music from Breathe by The Prodigy, that down. But then it was like a hip hop, like a rap song. It was like using that, but then it was like a rap over it.
Fuck.
And
I
was
like, know it? It might have been made just for this, but probably not.
The big thing, though, in this new one is the Omni movement thing, which is basically like you can dash in any direction now. And that's why like the kind of like leaping backwards is like if you do a backwards dash, you'll do that. You'll leap to the side. So it's kind of like little Max Payne-y. But I don't know. Seems okay. Like, I mean, I get all this shit with Game Pass. So they also had a full-on cinematic for the zombies mode.
God. the zombies mode started. The trailer started with a road in the like woods, and my first thought was that jump scare video that we used to get at early YouTube, where it's like a snaky road down a mountain, and then all of a sudden a zombie would pop up and like scream.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't even know that.
And so I was like,
is that what they're doing?
Is Call of Duty going to jump scare me right now?
It is a weird thing. I don't know. There's something going on with the story. I don't know the story of zombies, where this guy is like, he's having a dream where his wife and child are playing in a like a clearing, and then it catches on fire, and they're just sitting in the fire.
Yeah.
And he wakes up.
They're like, is it getting hot?
He's in like a weird research lab, and there's like a containment breach. This is a very like kind of Raccoon City, but in the suburbs type of thing.
Yeah.
Where they have like this like quaint town. And he pulls out this like giant like lightning gun. This is like a new gun that's in the game. It's a pretty well put together little trailer where he's kind of going through and he's shooting these big groups of zombies with the big lightning gun and just like turning them into charcoal. At the very end, he goes into like an elevator, and there's like this purple smoke that starts like smashing him around.
Yeah.
And he's like talking to a character called like, I don't know, it's like Amy or something like that, about how like, oh, if you do this, you'll never be free. And then the elevator opens to this giant orb, and the orb is like, I'm already free, or like with a lady voice. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot.
It's a pretty cool...
That looks like a Pokeball.
It does.
In the very end. That looks like a giant Pokeball. That looked like Mewtwo was hiding in there.
Man, whatever Call of Duty is using as their graphics engine for this stuff.
They could make a movie like this.
Real good looking, yeah. I'd be more interested in watching a movie maybe. But they also had a trailer that was just like going over kind of the Liberty Falls environment.
Yeah.
Like this kind of, again, like it's kind of like Bright Falls, right? Like it's like a small, like a quaint, like northeastern town.
Yeah.
But this one is full of zombies, and it's 1991, so they look like goths and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a
spidery guys.
There's a there was one of the things when they were talking about the new zombies mode where they said like there's going to be a directed version of the mode. So instead of having to like figure out what the next thing you have to do is, they'll literally put like things on the map and like arrows to tell you where to go.
That's better because you and I are too stupid to figure it out sometimes.
Yes. Also, they looks like they got a lot of like weird, like there was one gun in here where it's like a guy holding just like a jet engine.
That's amazing.
We have like Dead Alive or something where he's like sucking zombies into this giant jet engine and this like Power Glove looking. Looks like something out of Doom, really. And they've also got a bunch of weird like distended little spider guys and weird zombies. So looks pretty cool. The
spider guys kind of look like a face hugger and that spider head thing from The Thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Seems all right. Like I'm more interested in playing zombies than I am anything else.
Don't give a shit about anything. I wish that they would just come out with its own game.
Oh, like a standalone zombies game? I think they kind of have, but
I don't know. It just feels like it's still kind of attached, but
yeah, it's weird because as all of the different parts of Call of Duty get more and more like, for lack of a better word, mature over time, they all feel more fully realized.
Yeah.
But then when they put out Black Ops 3, I think, they tried to just do multiplayer without a single player campaign.
Yeah.
And it was kind of not really well received because there's some people who really don't want the single player campaign. So
for sure.
Let's see. From there, we got an announcement for a game called Retrieval. This is like completely unknown studio. I never heard of them. It's a game that's being made in Unreal Engine 5, and it's like what's weird about it is that they said that it's using RTX technology, even though this is a PlayStation game. PlayStations don't have GeForce cards in them, so I'm not sure how that works. If there's like a software solution, but if it works better than the AMD shit they're currently using, I'm all for it. But it was like an exceptionally gory trailer with like this woman kind of in like a hazmat suit that's all fucked up.
Oh, that is really gory.
Yeah.
There's like pouring blood.
And there's kind of a montage. It looks like they've got like zombies or infected, and it looks like it could be like near future or maybe full future. And it's really striking. Like I like the visuals. Like it's got a lot of like cool lighting, interesting enemy designs. Not a lot to it so far. But
you don't get a whole lot in what you're looking at.
But it's on my radar.
But it looks good enough, that I would
give it a second. I would watch the next trailer that comes out and make an assessment. Because we have seen instances where companies that are using the Unreal Engine can make games that look very nice and then are garbage.
Yeah.
Because the engine does a lot of the heavy lifting, so it makes things look really good. So let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for the Castlevania integration into Dead by Daylight.
Sure.
Which is interesting because, strangely enough, by doing this, it adds Dracula as one of the killers, which has not been a thing in the Dead by Daylight universe.
Yeah.
So it's the Castlevania version of Dracula as one of the new killers. And then there's
but he's kind of a babe, so you can catch me, daddy.
There's a bunch of the skins. You've got a Simon, a Trevor, one of the other ones that I don't like. The one thing that I thought
do they have a map or anything? You're literally just walking past.
No, not really. I think they're just in the regular maps at the moment.
Yeah, they all look.
The other weird thing is at the end of this, I don't think they talked about this before. They showed well, first off, what's interesting is that, like, because the survivors can't fight, like, you have a Belmont in the game with no offensive capability.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
And then they showed off another skin for the Castlevania survivor that had not been there before, which was Alucard. He's the legendary skin for this character.
Yeah.
Which, again, though, is weird.
Because he has to just run like a little bitch.
Right, because he's just like run and turn on like gas generators and then hide from Papa.
It does like change things, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's funny.
Like, they're really nice looking character models.
Yeah, they look great. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a cognitive. It's like the last one I think they put in was like Lara Croft.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, Lara Croft is a fighter, right? Like, I can understand Nick Cage is running away from everything, but like Lara Croft is like known for shooting dinosaurs with pistols.
Yeah,
and wouldn't be afraid of blasting on some kind of weirdo that was trying to hunt her.
Yeah, like a psycho with a machete. I think she'd be like, oh no, I'm better shoot that psycho with a machete.
Yeah. Let's see. In other horror news, we got an announcement trailer from Gamescom for Nightmare House Reimagined. It's interesting. This was an old Half-Life mod that was a horror thing where you went into this house and a bunch of creepy shit happened and there were like baddos. But like, I went and looked up like what this game looked like originally, and it was so Half-Life that like you picked up the gun from Half-Life, and like the enemies in the game were the head crabs and the head crab zombies from Half-Life, whereas this has been completely redone by a team that made In Sound Mind, which I think you and I played, where it was like going into dreams. It had like a weird like gaunt guy with like a fedora on the front.
I like faintly remember that. Yeah,
it was a long time ago, but it looks really creepy. Looks kind of interesting and creepy and weird. The part of the trailer where you see those like the beds jump.
Yeah.
I went back and looked at a long play of the game, and like that directly happened in the original. Like 15-year-old.
So they like
Half-Life
really
mod.
put a lot of love and care into remaking this without it being just Half-Life.
Yeah, it seems like an indie developer that's taken like a really popular mod and then teamed up with the mod maker to basically redo it as an original property instead of...
That's such a smart idea.
Yeah.
No, there's no reason not to.
So, I'm really interested. I
was wondering why people were so hyped about this.
Oh, did you hear about it?
I saw it on Twitter. A lot of people were like... I was like, what the fuck is Nightmare House? Like, I don't remember a game called that, but I don't remember a lot of games, so maybe. And then I never looked further into it, so I assumed we would talk about it because people were hyped, and I was like, oh, maybe you'll be like, I played it when it came out originally, and I didn't know it was a mod.
Oh, they also are putting the original out on Steam as a free download.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, good stuff. No release date yet, but it's out there in the wild.
Nice.
Mouthwashing.
I remember this.
Yeah, got an official release date trailer.
That's right. We only played like the demo.
The demo.
Yeah.
Yep. Mouthwashing was very cool. It's about a bunch of...
Yeah, we liked how weird it was.
A bunch of corporate, like, astronauts on a ship that's stranded in...
they were delivering...
When they were making a delivery, there was, like, an explosion that, like, killed, like, most of the resources.
And their captain was severely burned, so he couldn't take care of anything, so we were in
It looks like a Hellraiser of some sort.
Yeah.
But then, like... there was a weird thing where it's like the only thing that survived was our cargo, and it's all mouthwash.
Yeah.
And so the characters get like super fucked up because all they have to survive on is mouthwash.
And the mouthwash is like
alcoholic.
High in alcohol.
It's like Listerine.
Because even when they were talking about it, they were talking about like when we played the demo, and they're debating whether to open up the cargo or not.
Right.
And then when they finally do and find out it's mouthwash, they notice that the alcohol content on it was way higher than they were expecting.
And then it just cut to the weird ending with the captain, the fucking wrapped up captain was like eating a cake or something, and everybody else was dead.
Yeah.
And then there was the thing with the mascot, with the pony mascot, where he kept getting weirder and crazier.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they also did a really clever thing.
It was our jam, man. We were having fun with it.
It was definitely an Amanda and Jeff game. Like, it was weird and crazy and lo-fi, and man, I mean...
Made us uncomfortable and was weird, and like, anytime you let me just stare at a television and it just plays a commercial, for some reason in games, we're like, this is great. We should have more of this.
They did a really clever thing when they announced the release date. That's why I paused it here. Is basically it comes to the end of the trailer and it says like 9, like kind of in the middle, and then it says 6, and then 0, and then 2, and so it has 9/26 on the screen, like it's going to be coming out in September of 2026. and then it just puts a slash between the two of them. So it's coming out September 26th, like at the end of next month. Ooh. So yeah, boy.
We gonna play it.
We are definitely gonna play it.
I want to date everything, and then afterwards.
Get some mouthwash.
Get some mouthwash. You know, we have a lot of time with all the things we're dating. You got to get some mouthwash. You can impress them.
Yep. So, looks good.
Yeah.
We got a 6-minute look at Claire Obscure. This was announced, I think, at Summer Games Fest. And it was like, okay, so the concept of this game is that there's like a bunch of people that live on this island.
Is he walking underwater?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people that live on this island, and there's like a painter off in the distance. It's like a god, and they will paint a number on a canvas, and everybody who is that age dies. And every year it happens, they're just like counting down, basically. And so the characters in the game are mounting like an expedition to try to go to that place to stop
writing numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but it's all very like. There's a name for it. What's it called? Belle Epoque. Belle Epoque means like the beautiful time. It was like a specific era in France where it was like everything was like had a very kind of like very gilded and beautiful look to it. So the characters look like that, except for that main guy that looks like Robert Pattinson, sort of, when he turns in certain directions.
Yeah, he does have that like generic white guy look.
Yeah. But then what was interesting was they showed this, and we were all kind of like, well, I don't know. That looks like a kind of just a standard third-person action game. But then they showed what the combat looks like, and it's like just a straight-up like turn-based JRPG. So, which was interesting, which was not what we were expecting.
Yeah,
like some kind of mediocre third-person action game, whereas this looks like a pretty well realized, like turn-based.
I kind of like the weird shifting camera angles for it.
Yeah, it does a lot of like dramatic moves.
Yeah, it just makes it look more dynamic. Because what like the problem is, a lot of these games that do the like JRPG or the RPG elements is it looks beautiful and everything's very dynamic, and then when it's time to have those battles, it goes, you're on the left, they're on the right, and then you hit. And then they hit, and then they go back, and then it's back to the like dynamic, and it's just like it feels weird and takes you out of it. But the way they're doing this, it looks like it's trying to keep you in.
Yeah, and then they show a little bit of like there's like
big monster.
Well, first off, as you mentioned, like the area that they're in this like little gameplay loop is like they're walking at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
But they're not like they can talk. They're not drowning. It's like the water isn't there, but the aesthetic is there. They also show that it looks like you could switch between party members and that you can like kind of navigate the world in different ways depending on who you're using. And at the end, they kind of finish up with a boss fight. It's all just very visually striking.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
A lot of it is the fact that there's an interview with the director where they said that they're really using Unreal Engine 5 all the way to the hilt. Like they made all the characters in that character thing that they have where you can scan people in and you can do like really detailed edits. And so they're just using a lot of the tools from that engine to basically punch way above their weight to make basically like, oh, we're just going to make a Final Fantasy because we can, because so much of this stuff we would have spent time on can be automated and we can move forward.
It's kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, they show
I respect it.
A big boss fight at the end, which is pretty fun. So
nice.
Yeah, go check it out. And that I don't know if that has 2025. Yeah. So let's see, what's our time looking like? Oh, we got plenty of time.
Oh, hell yeah. We're going to accidentally go over this plenty of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. As like we always do. Metaphor ReFantazio got a new trailer. Travel Beyond Fantasy. I think this came out of the latest thing. The Gamescom. Speaking of weird JRPGs, this is the one that's like kind of a combination of like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. The big thing with this one is it's an original fantasy world where like when the royalty dies, which happens, we saw a cutscene of totally spoiling what happens, but even though I'm sure it's the first thing that happens in the game, like there's a magical thing that happens where there's an election but the election is like psychically and magically done, where it's just like the most popular person then becomes the new ruler of the kingdom. And your character, this little guy, basically decides to kind of throw their hat in the ring. And so the point of the JRPG is that you're going to these different lands and doing things to raise your like popularity level to compete. That's what the numbers are here with the different characters. So you do quests in order to get people to vote for you. Except, so then that's like a persona part, where then you have like the social part of it, but then you also have the kind of Shin Megami Tensei, you're like getting different weird characters and areas,
collecting weirdos to join you on your journey.
Also, you ride your sword like a skateboard, like a hoverboard.
Nice.
And it's pretty cool. It's got these full anime cutscenes. It looks great. Nothing about it is turned me off so far. One of the things that they said a long time ago, Amanda, I think you might appreciate this, is that it's an RPG, and basically like the monsters are wandering around the overworld. If you are a higher level than the monster in the overworld and you run into them, you just win that battle and get the experience points for it. You don't have to do a single battle. I'm like, yes, thank you.
I call that the intimidation win, baby.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks really cool. It's coming October 11th. It's right around the corner. I love just how original everything is. Like the visuals are just so original that what are you gonna say?
Yeah, it grabs you, right?
Yep. Really crazy. Interesting, like color palette and everything. Just very different. So we got a launch trailer. We got a closed alpha trailer for Smite 2. Smite is a third-person MOBA where you play as the gods. It's a kind of a crazy franchise where, like, it started out really simple with like, you got your Greek gods, you got your you got your Norse gods, you got your various other gods.
Get your pantheons here.
And then eventually they added in like the Ninja Turtles and the avatars.
Yeah,
and
my gods. Sorry, I don't worship the boring ones.
This is the second one, which the first one came out quite a while back. It'll be interesting to see how successful this is, just because putting out a MOBA is kind of like, I don't know, MOBAs aren't really as much of a thing these days. So this one was always...
I don't know. They keep trying.
Yeah. This was always the one that I would play if I was going to play one, because it's a lot more close to the action as opposed to like the ones that are
being so far away from everything.
Out. Yeah.
I don't want to feel like a god when I'm playing a god. That's weird.
But yeah, and apparently there's like right now it's a closed alpha, but it's one of those things where there's like you can buy a founder's pack and then just get into it. I also really think that whoever made their logo, where they put the Smite 2 and then there's the lightning bolt in the negative space, that shit's fucking... That's what I go, ooh.
Somebody went to college for that one.
Yeah. But that's out now. I don't think we're going to play it on the channel because this isn't really my type of game, but...
Yeah.
Never was a mobile guy. We got the launch trailer for Crypt Custodian, where you play as a little cat that has a disastrous interaction with like the god of death after dying, and then is forced to become the janitor for the afterlife forever.
Nice.
It's a top-down platformer that looks pretty cute.
Yeah, it looks super cute.
And then you like...
These are the kind of cute games I play.
Yeah.
I wish people would understand that.
It's kind of got like a little bit of a Cult of the Lamb feel to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was reminding me of.
But then it's also got these like spirits that you kind of interact with for like story reasons.
Nice.
Kind of like Spiritfarer almost. And then obviously you're going to get like a bunch of different powers and cool stuff. So I don't know. I was going to look at it, but this style of game, a lot of times I don't like the 2D on a 3D thing.
Yeah. I get that.
Probably should have looked at this one this week, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get a chance later. I don't know. The rest of this month and all of next month is just like bangers all the way down.
Yeah.
So
it's always nice to have one of these like in your back pocket just in case something sucks.
Yeah.
Which happens sometimes.
Which does happen from time to time.
It does happen sometimes.
Let's see. We also got the launch trailer for Core Keeper.
Keep that core. What the fuck? That is a big old wormy guy.
So this is on Xbox Game Pass, and it's also on Steam and other places. It's a real like kind of multiplayer top down. It kind of looks like a Stardew Valley, but more like a dungeon adventure thing. But then you're also like building towns and raising crops and building.
Does it look chaotic because there's a bunch of people doing a bunch of things?
I think that's one of the claims to fame, is that you can play it like multiplayer with like 12 other people at the same time.
God,
like high player counts.
I do not like people enough to play all together with them.
I thought about maybe starting up a game to ask if anybody on the Discord wanted to play.
Server to jump in on.
Yeah. Regular people and not like randos.
Yeah.
But it's like if you watch this trailer, it just keeps going and going, and there's just like crafted and building.
That's really pretty.
Giant bosses.
Yeah.
And, like music.
If people were like super into it, I completely understand. But something about the chaos of it makes me want to scratch my face out. It looks cool.
It's good that it's on Game Pass. I hope that it gets a lot of people that come to check it out on Game Pass. So. Let's see. We can kind of skip this. We got the demo for the Epic Mickey rebrush.
We already talk about Epic Mickey.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know.
It's Epic Mickey.
Still interested.
Yeah.
There's a Warren Spector game. It's the guy that made Deus Ex, for God's sake. Also, it's made here in town.
Hell yeah, it was. Beep, beep.
We got the launch trailer for Akimbot. I'm also really interested in this game because it's basically just a Ratchet and Clank knockoff.
Hell yeah.
With just two different robots.
Pumpkin Jack.
So it was, made by the developer of Pumpkin Jack, which was a throwback side-scrolling Halloween-themed game.
Cute.
We played for Patreon. Not you and I, but played it on the channel for Patreon.
Mm-hmm. The Royal Wii. The RageSelect Wii.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that this one manages to not suck because I like Ratchet and Clank and they're not making more of them.
Yeah.
And so if they can make more of something that's like Ratchet and Clank, I would like to play it.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks dark, but looks good.
Yeah. The real question will just be how does the story hang together? How do the weapons and how do the weapons feel? And like, does it have like a good amount of like humor and stuff? So I don't know. Interested. We got the release date for Beyond Galaxy Land. This is an interesting game. It was announced a little while back. It's like a 2D kind of pixel game. Mm-hmm. And the point of the game is that there's this giant red cloud that's been eating planets. And you and a series of humans are taken to this place called Galaxy Land that's like a preserve basically for species whose entire civilization has been destroyed.
Oh. That's a zoo.
Basically. But then it's unclear like that actually it might not have been destroyed and what's going on and where did this thing come from?
Did they lie to us?
And so you have to kind of bust out and then go on this adventure. And so it's like a turn-based RPG, but then you go to a bunch of different worlds and you get like a party full of people and it's got some really nice pixel art to it.
It looks cool. Like I'd be interested in knowing about it, but probably not playing it.
Yeah.
But like you tell me the plot and I'd be hyped.
I think I might have complained about this before, but like you can see all of the art design that's on display, and how cool it all looks. And then they get to the end of this, and like the splash screen for the game is like just this drawing that looks really generic,
very generic.
Like it doesn't do any favors for what we saw in the actual trailer. So I don't know,
man. There's a hamster with a gun over there.
It's true. There's also like a giant sloth in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There's like a giant lady head.
Yeah, the pixel art looks 10 times better.
Yeah.
You'd have been better off just making a little splash page with the pixels.
Yep. Would have looked way better.
Yeah.
Whoever you contracted or whoever's on your staff who did all of the art for this should have just like taken an afternoon to do the splash page for like a YouTube channel or YouTube's.
I get it because a lot of video games used to do that back in the day, and sometimes people like that throwback feel of like the cover art not looking like the game. Yeah. But sometimes
no.
Sometimes just stick with the better art. Sometimes no.
Nor came out on the Switch. This is a game that was on the PS5 where it's basically just like, it's not really a game. It's like you just get a bunch of different like food vignettes that you can then interact with in a bunch of different ways to make kind of like chaos.
I remember this.
And explosions. Like Michael and I played it. I think I had originally planned for us to do 2 parts, but then we saw what it was. It was like, no.
Yeah, you can't get 2 videos out of this.
This is just a toy. But it's out on the Switch.
That's cool.
So, yeah, you can play that if you want. It's an interesting thing, but as long as you're not like
looking for a game.
For a narrative game of any kind. So, let's see. And then let's wrap it up. Well, we got a few more things. Spectre Divide. Okay, so this is a game I never heard of before. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because I watched the let me just make sure I've got the thing. Okay, so I watched the trailer for it. And it's like this cell-shaded, round-based kind of shooter game where and it looks like almost exactly like Valorant or like futuristic Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
but like cell-shaded.
Sure.
And the trailer was weirdly boring to me because it was like none of the characters have any facial expressions.
Yeah, they're all just like stone-faced.
Yeah, showing the characters while they shoot each other, just murk each other, but with zero expressions. But then what I learned was that it's kind of a weirdly different game. It's a 3v3 game, but every person has 2 copies of themselves. And you can set one of them like to be automated and then control the other one. So like it's like a Counter-Strike game, but then you can like make your clone guard your base and then you go shoot other people.
Interesting.
And then switch back and forth between them, which I'm like, okay, well, that's different.
That is, yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I don't know, though. You got to be really careful with these games because the people that play this style of game play like 2 different games and are not interested in switching.
Yeah.
But it is free to play. So
maybe worth a shot.
It's at least a way to try to entice people. And it was just in beta and then it's coming out September 3rd.
Nice.
So right around the corner.
Tuesday.
Yep. We will not be playing Spectre Divide. Mostly because you know what else comes out that same actually came out today.
Ooh,
but the thing that's at the top of the schedule for you and I to play next week is the motherfucking squirrel.
Fuck.
With a fucking gun.
I'm gonna wear my squirrel girl costume while we play.
They had a whole thing at Gamescom where they showed off the game and a variety of different things that you could do, and it looks great.
Yeah, it looks super silly.
It's like you could just be cute to people, or you can help people.
That's what we'll do. Be cute to them.
Or you can just like hold them up.
Give me your fucking wallet. Give me your nuts.
Yep. There's a whole thing where...
Oh my God.
Well, he actually fixed that guy's back.
That's amazing.
Like he was having neck problems.
Yeah, but it still looked insane.
Yeah. And you use your nuts to buy different guns and like RC cars and all kinds of crazy stuff.
God.
Yeah.
This crow things, the goat simulator.
Yep.
We are in a golden era
of animals just fucking with you.
Yeah. Just like insane animal games.
I love the fact that like you can use the guns to like stay in the air and hover.
You can like rocket jump with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks like the heir apparent to the Goat Simulator Fortune.
Absolutely.
And that game is out now, by the way. You can buy it.
Fun.
This now.
Fun.
Let's see. Oh, also, there's a game out there called Night of the Consumers. You can tell a lot of times that I try to tailor my podcast for the person that's with me. So Amanda, this is a game that's already on itch.io. And it's like a frenetic game where you are in a supermarket and you're trying to stock shelves and clean stuff up, but there's constantly customers running at you. Like the audio in this is every one of them is like, excuse me,
oh my God,
excuse me, and like they're like running at you like zombies trying to like keep you from doing your job.
God.
And it was an
I'm gonna have a panic attack just thinking about it.
It was an itch.io game for a long time, but they're putting it on Steam. And it sounds like it's not necessarily like zombies, but it's very horror coded.
Yeah. Which is kind of the point.
And it's coming out on October 28th, so right in time for Halloween. So
spooky job.
Yep. It's one of those things kind of like mouthwashing where like you could have this game in a different art style and it wouldn't be as horrifying as it is in this kind of lo-fi PS1 person yelling and running at you and trying to grab you.
Yeah, that like awkward movement and everything's kind of boxy and grimy. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's wrap it up with a few more things.
Okay.
I said that before. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, though, I've not been drinking coffee, and I feel like I'm less tired than I was when I drank the weird Starbucks energy drink I drank today and a coffee. Because with the coffee, I had like a floop after it wore off.
Crash. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I don't even feel that right now, and I don't have a searing headache, which is nice. I don't know.
Have we cured you?
I think I just stopped drinking poison. Anyway, before Bungie was known for Halo, they made a Mac OS specific first-person shooter called Marathon. It was on there for a long time, and it was trapped on there. Recently, a group has figured out how to emulate that and has been putting their games on Steam. I believe that from this article that Bungie released the source code of that into the wild and just said, like, do what you will.
Have at it.
We're never coming back to this.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. So they released the first one because this year is like the 30th anniversary of Marathon. Yeah, 30th. They released the first one earlier this year. They released the second one a couple months ago, and then they just put out Marathon Infinity, which was the third one. So you can now go back and play that entire franchise, and it's all free.
Nice.
You can just add it directly to your Steam library. Bada bing, bada boom, go for it.
Apply directly to the Steam library.
Yep. We also got the news that the Yakuza's developer, RGG Studio, is having an event September 20th to announce whatever's next in the franchise. We don't know what's next. We just had the Yakuza Infinite Wealth game in like January, I believe it came out. And there has been no peeps about what's coming since then.
Hype?
Yes. My hope is that they either announce Judgment 3 or a new Gaiden spinoff, because they had the man who erased his name last year before that. And but it's also been a long time since we've heard from Judgment, and apparently all these games make money for them, so like,
it's good. Take your pick.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I liked the first Judgment a lot. The second one didn't do very much for me, but maybe it could swerve back with the third one. Also, Tokyo Game Show is September 26th to the 29th, so this is about a week before that. So hopefully we'll get announcements, and then we'll see a little bit more at Tokyo Game Show.
Nice.
Konami basically confirmed there's going to be a Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Part 2, which will almost certainly include Metal Gear Solid 4 and then 5 and then Peace Walker. So there was an interview with one of the producers, and he said, when asked about it, he said, "We definitely are aware of the situation with MGS4. Unfortunately, we can't really say too much at the moment with Volume 1 containing MGS 1 through 3, ... You could probably connect the dots." This would be huge because up until now, Metal Gear Solid 4 is only a PlayStation 3 game. It's one of those games that never made it out of the PS3.
Yeah.
So it'd be really nice to get it out onto modern consoles.
Anything else? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was also strange because even though the PS3 was the first console with a Blu-ray drive, you had to like install, or you had to switch discs. It was a multi-Blu-ray game because it was so fucking big. So yeah. Let's see. In other Metal Gear news, they're putting out a big old statue of the boss saluting the grave of his mentor.
You gonna buy that?
Fuck no. The cheapest one is $500.
You don't just have $500 to spare, Jeff?
Not for that. Like, come on, man.
My money is for beer?
Yes.
Taco Bell?
I have Mexican ramen fusion to pay for. Those bills are expensive.
Hell yeah.
Okay. No, it's an interesting thing, and it's big. It's like this big. It's like several soda cans, like 5 soda cans tall.
I understand the significance, but who's like, I want that statue of him saluting a grave?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a huge. If you're a big, like, I would want it if it wasn't $500.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that it's not just $500 because there's like a $700 version.
Is it dipped in fucking gold?
So the basic one is just him and the gravesite, right? And then there's like a second one that's him and the gravesite, and then it comes with the boss's gun and a little bouquet that can be put by the gravesite. But then there's the like super duper expensive one.
How much is that one?
It's like over $600. And this one specifically comes with like this kind of ghost of the boss standing behind him that's like a glass brushed
a lot
thing that kind of just hovers behind, and the whole thing is a nice diorama. I'm not spending $700. This is for people who don't ever have to think about money. This is for people what have too much money to spend, or somebody that's not me.
Where do you display it? The center of your dining room.
Look at that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 soda cans tall. That's pretty big.
That is very big.
Pretty big.
That's perhaps.
If you made one that was 1 soda can tall that I could put on my desk, and you charged me $70 for it, I would buy that.
Yeah, but like that big. That's crazy.
Yeah. Some people
Who has space in their home for that?
Some people have places in their house where they put a bunch of. Michael has like a bunch of
statues
and stuff.
No. Believe me, John is a collector, not of statues, but of like action figures. Yeah. So I understand, but I also just don't understand.
But also I don't understand. Hey, you know me. I'm a throwing stuff away motherfucker. So,
dude, I collect fabric to sew with.
Yeah. Speaking of collectibles, there is a how to explain this? Square Enix did a thing where they asked people before the last Final Fantasy VII Remake came out what scene they would like to see depicted in Lego.
Yeah.
And one of those options was Cloud and Aerith meeting in the church for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And so they made 2 of these. And they're all glued together with Lego. Mm-hmm. They're custom. And one of them got picked up by an auction house and is auctioning it off, and it's sold for $12,000. So if you thought $700 for the Big Boss was wrong, was a raw deal.
That's only a little bit more than what a Lego set costs regularly, so it's fine. It's so expensive.
They are really expensive.
Why? I'm poor, Lego.
Yeah. All of us are poor now. Come on.
I bought too many Lego and now I can't buy a house.
Just make the house out of the Legos. I don't know what the problem is. But yeah, they had a really big, a really big video. The big thing I thought was interesting was the fact that the top comes off of this because it's got this big kind of like the church roof with a hole in it.
Yeah.
But other than that, as I said, this whole thing is glued together, so you can't even take it apart.
Yeah, it's
because it isn't an official set. It's just built by Lego.
God damn.
So, yep.
Where are you displaying this?
If you're buying a $12,000 Lego set.
In your $12,000 Lego set home that you bought specifically for that Lego set?
You are Will Ferrell from the end of the Lego movie where nobody's allowed to play with your giant city that's in your basement.
Lord.
So, all right. Speaking of ridiculous bullshit.
Which we are.
Last week, Starfield put a dune buggy into the game.
Nice.
And as always, the first thing that everybody did was mod it to be Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, God.
And it's pretty amazing.
That makes me so happy.
Yep.
My favorite thing about humans is that they will make the dumbest shit.
Uh-huh.
You'll be given amazing things, and then people are always like, but what if I add a little bit of my childhood nostalgia to it?
Yep.
That's what's fantastic.
What's weird about it is that this has now been done so many times that it's literally part of the culture to see if I can put
Thomas
the Tank Engine in instead of something that's in the game already. And how fast can I do it? And can I be the first one?
We used to get Macho Man Randy Savage and things all the time. Yep. We'll get, I love it.
The Macho Man dragons in Skyrim were my favorite.
This is so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I think about all the time.
And then last but not least, I know, Amanda, but we had the modding thing.
You know?
Black Myth Wukong came out last week, and what is the first thing that everybody's going to mod into Black Myth Wukong?
Thomas the Tank Engine?
No. Son Goku.
Of course.
From Dragon Ball, because he's literally based on that exact same character.
Yeah.
So the idea of taking one of his models
Does
and
Michael
putting it
know
in,
about this?
I messaged him the moment I saw the news story. So, yep. There's actually 2 mods for this because the other one uses this one uses a more cartoony version.
Yeah.
This one is the Jump Force mod, which was made to be a lot more detailed.
Yeah. That looks weird because his face is still cartoony, but
but he's got weirdly ripply biceps.
Yeah,
looks gross.
Yeah, that looks painful. That looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
And that it would make the same noise that tight rubber gloves would make.
Every time he moves.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. With that, we're done.
Holy crap. We made it?
We are 2 minutes and change over time. So,
wow.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
I'm proud of us.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a whole Nintendo Direct and then all the rest of it. If you've made it to the end of this, it must be noted that the Patreon's been dropping by a fair amount recently.
Yeah.
I might have to make a video kind of addressing this in the future, but if you listen to the podcast, just know that the Patreon also supports this podcast as well as the videos. So if you've got $5 a month to chip in, if you enjoy listening to 3 hours of me and my friends talk about video game, I guess it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. Woo. Talk about Sonic the Hedgehog and news and whatnot. Maybe consider coming and giving $5 a month. That gets you access to the Discord server, all the backlogged videos that money can buy.
Years worth of backlogged videos.
So many. In fact, I have to talk to your husband because Michael and I finished up X-Men Origins Wolverine, and that Elden Ring DLC is staring us in the face. So I don't know. I'll have to decide whether I got all the characters and they're all ready to go. I got all my practice guys. I got everybody ready to go. So we'll have to see if that's something that we want to get going. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're almost done with that Warhammer sequential as well with Blake, and I think it's gonna. I think if we can beat it in like 2 more episodes, that the final episode will come out the same week as Space Marine 2.
Oh,
just
nice.
as I intended. So. Anyway, patreon.com/RageSelect is the takeaway. It really does help out, and is the primary way we do this. We don't sell stuff. In fact, I was thinking the other day how the podcasts have little musical breaks in them.
Yeah.
And that's normally where you'd have to put up with some kind of dumbass sales pitch, but I don't do that. Don't make me do that. All right.
We could sell you mattresses and beard trimmers.
Yep. We could be doing that. We could be trying to sell you
meat subscriptions. Why is it always meat subscriptions?
I don't need meat delivered to my house. I know where the meat is. I go and I buy the meat when I need the meat. God damn it! Now, if you'll excuse me, I have meat to buy.